The Browns, they're putrid. They're the worst team in the NFL.
The season, the 2024 season is over.
Lamar Jackson can't win the playoffs. He'll win a third MVP, though, so that's great. Drew Sample is the most important piece of the Bengals offense next year.
Go Joe Burrow. He deserves to be MVP. I wish he was the Browns quarterback. Kind of mean that.
If you're looking for the most reactionary, silly, and unserious show on the internet, then you're home. Live from Hamilton, Ohio, it's Off the Bench by Chatterbox Sports on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Uh-oh. We are not in Hamilton, Ohio. We are absolutely not. We are on the west side of Cincinnati.
The beautiful west side of Cincinnati.
The beautiful west side of Cincinnati.
That's right.
We are live at Champions Grill heading into March Madness, the first day of the real March Madness, as Jacob likes to say.
What a day. Did you see how excited Xavier was last night to punch their ticket to the tournament?
They were. They finally punched their ticket.
They went to the real deal.
They finally punched their ticket.
Congratulations.
Last night. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun day. We're gonna be here live all day, pretty much. So
that's right.
At least I know for the first several games of March Madness, the tournament kicks off at 12:10. So we'll be here live. We'll do another stream for that. But right now, for you radio listeners, welcome on in. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. And Off the Bench, Chatterbox Sports, presented by Champions Grill today.
Big time.
I will say, I watched last night, and all I had to say is, wow, the Crown Invitational is going to get real good in about 4.5 weeks.
I think you're right. What are we, June 14th is going to be a great tip-off date for the Crown.
The Crown is really – well, here's what's the Crown. The Crown's about fun. It's about togetherness.
It is. And togetherness of all the players that are already in the transfer portal.
Correct.
You're not even gonna have a
and we don't know who's going to play in it,
right.
But it's about coming together for a common goal, and that common goal is a pot of gold and all your heart's desires. That's what the Crown's about. And a reminder, speaking of Xavier, the Cincinnati Bearcats take on DePaul. That's 12 p.m. on April Fool's Day. That's a Tuesday in the middle of the workday.
The whole Crown's kind of an April Fool's.
It is, a little bit. It's
against basketball.
Correct. It's a joke against the sport.
That's right.
We got Tim walking in. We got two Tims in here, so we got double the Tim action.
We're maxed out on Tims.
Champions is not open right now, but we have I guess, are they open, right? Tim, are we open right now or no? We're still not open, right? Doors are open.
There
okay.
we go.
Doors are open, so if you're near the area, if you're getting off work early today, come on down. We talked about this yesterday, but March Madness, those 2 days are the least productive days in the calendar year.
For sure, no question about it.
There's no reason any employer has workers coming in on those days. If you're in a cubicle, get out of that, call in sick. They know it's a fake excuse.
Absolutely.
They know it's not real, but you're going to do it anyway because you have to. Today's March Madness. It's the best day of the year.
There's levels to the bosses. Obviously, the best ones just give you the day off.
Sure.
There's obviously guys that can't get around that, and you know how great your boss is, even if they let you work, by what they let you do. If
Correct.
you call in and you're like, I don't feel great, and they don't push back at all, you're in a good spot. Like when we were like, hey, Trace, we're going to go stream and watch all these games all day today. And he was like, that's a great idea. That's a good boss.
That is a good boss. That's a good boss. Casey, we started off today with you banging your head on this ledge over here. How's your head doing?
Dazed and confused. I see some people in the chat, they already said I look stoned. Well, that might be a reson why. I'm in concussion protocol.
He's in concussion. He's nothing says concussion protocol like a cold Miller Lite.
That's right. That's right.
Welcome on in again. Today is the March Madness stream live from Champions Grill. I guess we'll start with headlines. Do you want to do headlines now, or do you want to wait a little bit?
We can do the headlines.
I guess we'll do headlines.
I mean, because Craig would be very upset.
Buy me a few seconds.
I'm going to buy you a few seconds. Because we're going to start with the headlines as we always do.
Well, I mean, since I know it's not in your headlines because it just happened, I can buy Casey a few seconds. The Celtics were just sold for $6.1 billion. It's the largest sale of a sports franchise in North American history.
That's Cuban? Is Cuban back in the game?
It is not.
Cuban saw his team trade Luka, and he's like, let's buy the Boston Celtics.
It is the Symphony Technology Group.
Oh, boy.
And our dear friend, that one guy in the chat, says the Celtics were bought in 2003 for $360 million. As I just said, they were just sold for $6.1 billion.
Oh, my God.
So pretty good investment there. If you have enough money to buy a sports team, it's one of the best investments you can make.
Unbelievable. I mean, I always kind of like underestimate what a franchise is worth. Do you think
that's also a shining example of what a franchise is?
Correct. How much do you think the Bengals would get sold for?
More than you think.
$5 billion?
More than any number you look up.
Really?
Because there's always a tax for people wanting to join, especially the NFL. You mean, we talked about the Commanders forever with Dan Snyder and them wanting him out, how cheap they could get with all the legal fees and everything along those lines. Still sold for a record-breaking price. So I think there's always just going to be a tax. It's like the quarterbacks in the draft. You always pay a tax to get them. It's the same with trying to get into a league.
Well, that's how we start off headlines, but really we're going to start off headlines with this.
Score updates, breaking news, local and national headlines. Whatever's going on in the world of sports, Elliot has you covered. Off the Bench brings you Elliot's headlines.
I so should have had the whistle today.
You should have.
This would have been such a good whistle.
Everybody would have hated you in here.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The whistle would have been good. And I still think that whistle is somewhat contaminated.
It might be.
But here we go.
Maybe I want to get sick again.
We'll start. You know what? We're going to save college basketball. I'm going to save it. We're going to go with the NBA first. Lakers and Luka cruised past the Nuggets without Jokic last night, 120-108. Luka, 31 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. Let's check in on the Mavericks. They lost yet again, 135-131. They had 8 active players. 7 of them scored points. But another loss for our Dallas Mavericks. Collectively, they're the worst team I've ever seen. And honestly,
luckily, they're almost out of games. So
they
you
are
won't
out of
have
games.
to see them anymore.
They're out of, well, that's the worst part. They're in the playoffs. And they're going to be probably in the playoffs.
Well, that's the thing about the playoffs in the NBA, aren't they all?
Everybody is. The Suns.
What are we at, legitimately, number-wise? Isn't it 20 out of the 30
It's 20
teams?
out of the 30.
Yeah,
it's 20 out of the 30 as of right now.
Unbelievable.
But if you got to, I don't know how you count playoff teams. I also count the teams that are kind of in the hunt for it.
Okay.
So if you go by what's in the hunt, there's like 24 teams.
If you go by the teams that can talk themselves into being a playoff caliber team this year, it's everyone.
That's what I'm saying.
Legitimately everyone.
That's what I'm saying. The Suns 127-121 over the Bulls. Grizzlies, they fall to the Blazers 115-99. The Cavaliers, that's another loss. Is that 3 in a row? 3 in a row for the Cleveland Cavs. They dropped last night to the Kings 123-119. Unfortunately, they clinched their 1 seed in the tournament, I'm pretty sure, about 30 years ago.
You're in college basketball mode. I don't think they call it the tournament.
They don't call it it's a tournament, no?
I think it's called the playoffs.
Yeah, I am in basketball mode. Right. The Spurs, they made history last night. And Casey, you want to give this name a shot?
Oh,
you want to give this name a shot?
The Spurs made history last night. Let's see here. Where am I looking at here?
So right here.
Sandro
Musketeers?
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, Musketeers.
Yeah, so he scored a career-high 34 points for the Spurs last night. 13 of 14 shooting in 19 minutes.
See, I don't know how to pronounce that. You just have to say it with confidence, and then you're right.
Correct. He is the first player in NBA history to score 34 points in less than 20 minutes in an NBA game.
Wow.
Spurs win 120-105 over the Knicks.
Funny thing about the Spurs is they're openly trying to tank really, really hard, and they just can't do it.
They can't do
it.
They
just can't do it.
They're too good. Fox is out, too. Everybody's out.
Did you see why Fox was out?
No.
He had a little soreness that he'd been playing through all year long.
Oh, boy.
He wanted to get a surgery on it.
Oh, boy. You have Cade Cunningham. He banked in a game-winning 3 last night over the Heat, 116-113 the final score. Moving on over to the NFL, the Vikings, they had Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore, I think, once a promising receiver in this league.
Rondale Moore, I used a first-round pick in a dynasty draft on him.
Oh, boy.
He stinks.
He's real bad.
Except for one game.
Except for that one magical run.
We all know why that happened.
That's right. Daniil Hunter, got that name right, Jacob.
There you go.
And the Texans, he reaches a 1-year, $35 million deal with the Texans.
Yeah, I feel like this one's a little bit worse for us than the Myles Garrett, Max Crosby deals. And,
really?
And that might not sound like such an obvious take, but you got to think, when you think about the top tier of edge rushers, here in Cincinnati we put Trey Hendrickson in that tier. Everywhere else he's in tier 2.
Yeah.
Tier 1 is Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and Micah Parsons. So when you get outside of that tier 1 and those other guys start getting up towards that $30 million range, much less a guy like Daniil Hunter who is in that same age bracket as Trey Hendrickson,
Correct.
Getting up there towards 30. I believe he is 30. So the fact that he got that 1-year extension to bump him up over $30 million, this is something we talked about yesterday, I believe off air, but whether or not that would be a viable option for the Bengals to give Trey Hendrickson just about a $14 million raise this year, play him on a 1-year deal worth $30 million. I'm not sure how enticing that is for Trey Hendrickson. I think at this point for him, obviously if the options are playing for 1 year on 16 versus 1 year on 30, you'd rather play for 1 year on 30, but we're a long way till the season starts. I expect a 1-year offer of $30+ million would get turned down very quickly from Trey Hendrickson and his camp while they push for a long-term deal.
That's just crazy to me. And we'll have more to talk about
Absolutely.
Regarding Trey Hendrickson later on in the show today. As I'm getting a call mid-show here. We have...
Oh, no.
I'll explain it later. So we'll go on to college basketball last night. Mount St. Mary's 83-72 over American. They advance to face Duke. So, I mean, it's a win.
They got a fighting chance.
They got a chance. Everybody's got a chance. And we then have Xavier. The Musketeers. The Musketeers, they come back. They beat Texas.
And their home floor.
On their home floor.
Cintas East.
Xavier wins 86-80 last night over Texas. They came back. It looked like they were going to get blown out at various points during the game. Certainly
a few times.
Late in the first half, maybe middle of the second half, it was like, all right, Texas just pulling away. Xavier never gave up the fight, and that's just what a well-coached team does. Marcus Foster scored a season-high 22 points, 8 rebounds last night. Freemantle, 15 points. Struggling in the first half, kind of pulled it together. Did have a garbage-time dunk, so actually we'll take 2 points away. 13 points for Freemantle.
That's right.
Conwell and Swain, they each had 11. Maddox had 10. Jerome Hunter, our good friend, Jerome Hunter Fan Club, I believe, is in the chat now. Jerome Hunter, 3 massive threes last night. So how about that? Up next, Illinois, Friday night, tomorrow night. And the magical run continues for the Xavier Musketeers.
Illinois is a fun team because they like to play basketball really well sometimes. Then other times you'll watch them play and you're like, they've never played basketball before in their lives.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that'll go.
Yeah.
If there's a team you want to play with that play-in draw, Illinois is probably up there because you catch them on a bad night, Xavier could certainly get a win.
Yeah. So they're who's counting hair touches? We got
updates in the chat. Last I saw, you were at 4.
So here's the issue with
I might be behind.
Here's the issue with my hair. I need a haircut. But when I put headphones on, my hair just droops down.
For sure.
And I have to adjust it.
As a guy that also has longer hair, hats on headphone days are not optional.
No.
Absolutely need it. Can't have it.
That was my mistake, and I should have known that. So continuing on with Xavier here, I texted in our group chat last night. Jacob, I think, fell asleep at some point during the end of that game. Which is unfortunate.
After 10 o'clock p.m., that's usually what happens.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because the SEC just doesn't stay up.
Well, that's the fun part about the SEC slander here is, and you're going to see it again when Oklahoma takes on UConn unless they're able to win. Those new SEC teams obviously don't count. Yeah. So Texas, since they lost, go back to the Big 12. Obviously, they stink. UC plays in that conference. Oklahoma, same thing. If UConn's able to get over them, that doesn't count to the SEC's record, but we will count their bids. So we will be still taking that 14 number that is the record, along with our 90% out-of-conference win record, which is also a record. It does just mean more. That's absolutely right.
It does just mean more. I watched the game last night, and credit to Xavier, because I think that this year has been kind of a roller coaster. At no point did they really feel confident like they were a tournament team, and to have them finally get in and then win a game in March, it's just a special thing.
Maybe they will.
It was maybe they will. It was a home game last night. I mean, I don't know, our good friend Reed Mouse was there. Justin Kinner was there. I don't know if they went together. But
well, Justin Kinner, funny enough, he was going to root for whoever the Dayton fans liked the least, and I think he was very, very glad that it ended up being Xavier because there's a real rivalry there.
Correct.
His Xavier chants were every single time followed up with Dayton stuff.
That's right.
He had one mission last night, and that was to let Dayton fans know that they were second in their own arena.
And they are. And to be fair, they were.
I disagree. I don't think they're second. I think they're like 8th or 9th.
8th or 9th.
They put these 4-16 seeds over them. They're going down to Florida to play their first round game. They're supposed to be at home. How can you even say that's your home arena anymore? Go play in the Nutter Center.
Yeah, I guess that's about right. Texas, with about 13 minutes left in that game, had a 90% chance to win. A 90% chance
Unbelievable.
to win.
Unbelievable. Maybe you shouldn't have fired Chris Beard. Pretty good coach.
That's probably right. Sean Miller is just a good coach. And that's what the difference is. That's what the difference is.
Except for when I need him. I'll never get over it. Sean Miller, I had Arizona with DeAndre Ayton going real far in my bracket, and you just messed that all up. So I still hold that against him.
Didn't Chris Beard get fired for domestic abuse?
Sure did, and he's at Ole Miss, and they're in the tournament doing a damn good job.
He sure did. He sure did.
Got exonerated back in the SEC.
Was he exonerated?
He didn't go to jail.
I don't know. I don't know enough about that situation to weigh in. Mouse Cop says in the chat there were many UD and UC fans rooting for X last night. I saw a couple
fans.
I saw a couple screenshots of UC fans putting the old horns down, rooting for X.
But that's the thing is. Are you rooting for X, or is horns down just the most fun thing to do in the entire world?
I think horns down might be the most fun thing to do.
Because it's number one
in the entire world.
I mean, watch our intro. Every picture of me is horns down. It's the greatest thing in the world. Texas joining the SEC is good for that reason alone. Is we're not going to give them back doors to get out of it like the Big 12 did.
Correct. Our guy Lewis, by the way, is sitting right in front of us.
Shout out Lewis.
He's the one who called me there.
Oh, that's him.
That's it.
Very nice.
Jacob saw the name.
Your
contact
popped up.
info on my phone. So again, we are live at Champions Grill. We're talking March Madness. We're going to talk gambling today. I have a bunch of gambling stuff, and I think the plan for that is roughly around segment 6 or 5. I've got 3 pages worth of gambling notes for this tournament. So so stay tuned for that. March Madness is about the gambling.
Took a little drive yesterday after work down to the great state of Kentucky, placed some player props, so I got those for you guys as well.
Okay, all right. I love that. So we're going to be all ready to roll here for March Madness, but we're going to go a couple segments without talking basketball. We're going to go to the Cincinnati Reds up next, talk about some of the spring training stuff. I know spring training doesn't mean a ton, but nonetheless, they're playing in it, so why not discuss it a little bit? The numbers haven't been great, I would say, for the Cincinnati Reds outside of Ellie De La Cruz, and I wanted to get our vibes, our worries, as about a week away from the regular season. Shout out to the Chicago Cubs. I did watch Reed.
No.
I know. Reed was talking about the Cubs all yesterday. He would rather. I think he would rather have a Cubs win, is what he told me. He would rather have a Cubs win.
I think so.
My dad and I watched the Cubs last night on FS1, the rerun of it, and it was just my dad just smiling the whole time. It was just smiling the whole time. So we're gonna take a break. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back with you in a couple seconds here. And we're live.
See, the no music really.
The no music.
It really
the no
gets
music
me.
bothered me on that, but that's okay.
We're going to keep eyes on Casey's computer.
We're going to power through that. Also, I don't know how long that segment was. Doesn't really matter to me right now at this very second.
That's the thing is we
But
don't get
usually
to
I
know.
was the time guy, and now I'm not.
That
really
segment was about.
I'm not the time guy today, so I'm not concerned about it. It doesn't matter.
Like 15 minutes.
The segment was 16:30 according to the YouTube timestamps.
That's perfect. That's perfect then. So the Cincinnati Reds, obviously I guess they've overcome, I should say, what was that, 8 or 7 game losing streak during the spring. I've said this on the show, and I'll continue to say it. Spring training doesn't matter really about wins and losses. Who cares about that? It is about the level of play, though. I would like to see some of my guys perform better than they're performing right now, and that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go over some of the stats that I've seen this spring, and we're going to see if you're worried or not, if you're confident that player is going to be a contributor this year.
Okay. I don't think this is going to go well.
Why?
I just guessing. I don't have a lot of faith in a lot of our fellas.
I as the season gets closer, I'm starting to get more confident.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
the other way.
I don't know if that's a bad thing. So we're going to start with Matt McClain. And Casey, you're my baseball guy, so I'm going to need you to weigh in here as well.
That's right.
Matt McClain this spring, he's got 1 home run, 4 ribbies, a 273 average, 289 OBP, slugging 455. He's got 12 hits, 44 at bats, 5 doubles. Matt McClain. Obviously, we know what he means to this team.
Absolutely.
Those numbers there I'm not too concerned about. We know that he's going to be a contributor for the Reds this year, and I think that from what I've seen this spring, I'm excited to have him back. Confident or not confident that Matt McClain is going to be the guy that we all think he is.
I'm very confident he's going to be better than those numbers you just read. He's going to be an everyday, no doubt about it, very, very good, top half of the league second baseman. I do not think Matt McClain is going to be what a lot of us were talking about him being in the early parts of this offseason, being the second all-star at second base in the National League, being something along those lines. I'm not necessarily all the way there, but I also don't think he has to be for the Reds to get to where they want to be. If he's a consistent player who's out there for 120-plus games and he's playing at a high level with solid defense and a good bat, you can be not an all-star and still be a really, really good player. So I'm very, very confident in Matt McClain. I think he's going to be great. I do just think we're trying to speed him up a little bit. I think his peak, which is going to be what we've all talked about, I still absolutely believe in Matt McClain, but I think that peak's coming in a year or maybe even halfway through this year. I just don't think we're going to come out of the gates with him as an all-star level second baseman. He's going to be a great player, and I'm very, very excited about our middle infield.
Casey, you're confident about Matt, right?
Yeah, very confident. He's actually my favorite player on the team, even despite not playing at all last season. His rookie year,
incredible.
Man, I fell in love with the guy. I have my own personal nickname for him, MM9.
Okay.
There you go.
9mm. Yeah. Yeah, I love the guy. I think he's going to be great. I think the numbers, those are like his average numbers that I expect for this season, right?
That's the baseline.
That's the baseline, yeah. And I think that's, like Jacob said, he doesn't need to be an all-star to be a contributor to this team.
No, that's right.
To be someone that's impactful for this team. The Reds themselves don't have a lot of just solid contributors, and he can be that for them.
Yeah, and Mark Fetters said it in the chat, and I agree with it. As long as he leaves camp healthy, that is all I care about at all. Moving over to my favorite player on the team, Christian Encarnacion Strand, arguably having one of the better springs out of the guys on this team. Our guy Lewis doing horns down for CES. CES, 270 average, 295 OBP, slugging .537. He has 3 home runs, 6 ribbies, 11 hits, and 40 at-bats. For him this spring. Christian Encarnacion Strand's a guy that if he performs up to the expectations that some of the guys at Chatterbox believe he can be,
absolutely,
that some of the fan base believes he can be, he can be the difference maker on this team.
For
He's
sure.
going to be the guy that is probably the difference as to whether or not the Reds make the playoffs. I'm just not a CES guy. I'm not a CES guy right now. I need to see more of it. If he can give me the power that he's showing this spring, then yeah, I'm going to be happy about it. But I am confident a little bit more than I have been in the past with CES because of what I've seen this spring from him. I think you're seeing an energized player. He looks to be healthy right now. So as long as, again, I'm going to keep saying it with pretty much every player, as long as we continue the health, we're going to be okay with the roster we have. I'm not saying it's a playoff team, but I am saying we're going to be okay. But CES, are you confident CES is going to be the guy that you're seeing this spring?
Plus 155 to hit 25 home runs, and I'm already all over it. I think CES is going to have a really, really good year, and I think though he's not an outfield bat, which is what everyone wanted, I think he can be that infusion of power to the lineup that a lot of people thought we needed to get from that outfield addition. I think it can't be overstated what he can provide. Again, if he plays up to what a lot of people expect him to be, not last year when he was hurt, not even the back half of his rookie year, more right when he came up, I think if he can be that, not only will he provide the power we need to the lineup, but it'll give you so much more versatility with what you can do with Jeimer Candelario, banking on his health and prioritizing his bat. I think it can be a really, really good piece for us as a third baseman, as a DH, when you don't have to when you're not forced to play him at first, because CES can be your everyday guy there. I think CES is going to be a good power bat. If you look at the slash line, I think it's going to be pretty tough at points. He's going to struggle. He's going to chase pitches. He's going to strike out a lot. I think he's a good defender at first base, and I think he's going to be a really, really good power bat. So I'm excited about him next year.
The OBP thing is just one thing that I'm worried about.
Absolutely, you should be.
Like Kyle Schwarber's a guy. He comes out and he hits 45 home runs a year.
Yeah.
But he also gets a couple walks, right? And I think
literally a couple.
Just a couple. I want CES to get on base a little bit more, and if he can give that to me, that's all I care about. I know everybody slanders Joey Votto to the moon because all he did was get on base. That's what I want all my players to do. If every player can get on base at the Joey Votto
score a lot of runs,
we're going to score a lot of runs. Casey, CES, over under 30 home runs this year for CES.
I mean, I'm going to go under. I'm going to be a little bit negative here, but I don't think he's going to be super far off either. Like, I don't think he's going to be an issue in terms of him being in the lineup on a day-to-day basis. I think that he can get close to 30, right? I think that he might underperform for a month straight, but then he might give you like a week where he's just on fire and it can win you a couple series in a row, right? Like, I think he can make an impact on the season. I don't know if it'll be the full long term that we would like it to be, but I do think like he's got like we said, he's got the talent for it. I just don't know if he's got the consistency for it.
That's a good point.
And we'll have to just wait and see. I mean, last season was abysmal, and he was hurt. But I'm confident with the skill set that he has, what he brings to the table, that he can provide something in the season that is going to be looked at in the long term as impactful on the team.
Yeah, and one of the things, too, this year that you're going to look for in the Reds is to score significantly more runs than they did last year.
For sure.
The runs just weren't good enough. The offense was terrible, and that's why when you sign Nick Martinez, though I like that move, that's what a championship caliber team does. They pay a good player no matter the position. I do think getting him instead of a premier outfielder, somebody that can still contribute at a high level offensively, I still think the Reds are missing that, and that's what CES could be this year
for sure.
For the team. Going over to some of our outfielders, TJ Friedl, that's 38 at-bats this year. He's got 11 hits, 289, 357 OBP, slugging 342, not much there. TJ Friedl, again, last year a down year, probably a disappointing season on all accounts from him. Though he was injured, he is the leader of our outfield as of this very second. I think he's got the highest upside, and I think he's probably the best all-around player. I don't know
that anyone would debate that.
No, I don't know if anybody would debate it. I just think that TJ Friedl has to be the guy from 2 years ago, the guy that didn't ground into double plays. The guy was, what was he, a 5-WAR player? He was incredible. That's what we need out of TJ Friedl this year. I haven't seen anything special from him yet this spring. He's been, I guess, consistent, if nothing else. Not a ton of power, not a ton of extra base hits. But TJ Friedl, are you confident from what you've seen from him this spring to be the guy from 2 years ago, the guy that's going to be an everyday player, an everyday contributor to the lineup?
This is where I'm a little bit more pessimistic, and it's not necessarily anything I've seen from this spring. I just have a hard time believing that TJ Friedel's a 4-WAR player. And that's nothing against TJ Friedl. You can be a fine player down in the high twos and really help this team win some games. I just really have a hard time, seeing him go back to that 2023 form. I know he was hurt last year, but he hit 226 in the year before he hit 280. It's just such a large jump that I just don't see him getting all the way back to that form. I certainly hope I'm wrong. I hope he does, but this is where I'm a little bit more pessimistic, and I am really, really worried about this outfield. I don't know that we really did much to fix it. And we're banking on, Jake Fraley and TJ Friedl getting back to the best versions of themselves that we haven't seen for long periods of time. Spencer Steer, we're asking him to take a major step, and I don't want to get too much off, the TJ Friedl question here, but he's the best option we have in the outfield. He's the one we need to be the best out of it, and I worry really about this whole team if he's anything less than about a 3-WAR player, and I think that's right around my ceiling for him. So hopefully he can stay healthy. Hopefully he can perform, because that's really the only everyday locked-in position we have in the outfield.
Yeah. Casey, as a more of a casual Reds fan, TJ Friedl, our outfield right now, your confidence level there? Because last year it was a serious issue, and obviously coming into this season, I wanted it to be addressed. It should have been addressed. It wasn't addressed. Right now for you, are you confident that TJ Friedl is going to be the leader in the outfield?
Do we consider a slap hitter, like just someone that's going to get a single every time he comes up to a bat, a leader of the outfield?
Well, I see.
Yeah, like that's
a fair point. He does have power. Like he's shown power. He's in last season he hit,
our
13?
other outfielders also are horrendous.
That's true. I'm not going to say
the bar is so low.
I'm not going to say they're good.
So low.
What I will say though, like just from looking at spring training, and you can take what you will from spring training stats, but from a guy that's took 38 at-bats, he's only got 5 strikeouts.
Yeah.
I think that's
he's not going to strike out.
That's a thing that I think needed to improve on the team as a whole, and I think that him being a guy that's improved in that area, in that respect, is a good sign. I just don't know, Reed was a successful slap hitter. I think TJ Friedl is also a successful slap hitter.
For sure.
That's how
balls
I feel.
go burr.
Yeah, that's what.
And he's got the bunt ability too. He's got the bunt ability. I don't care how you get on base. Like I know there's this Luis Arias slander amongst Major League Baseball. You're out on him as well. Everybody's out on Luis Arias because the guy gets on first base more than anybody else.
And doesn't defend and doesn't steal and doesn't walk.
Yeah, he's not particularly fast, and he doesn't have great defense. And he probably doesn't get enough walks. But guess what? He gets on base, and that's all. That's what Moneyball was about.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
if you go by the Moneyball metric, that's all I care about. If TJ Friedl can get on first, I don't care how he gets it. If it's a walk, if it's a bunt, if it's a slap base hit the other way, it doesn't matter to me. That's all it's about.
The biggest thing going for TJ Friedl is if TJ Friedl's not in there, it's Blake Dunn or Stuart Fairchild.
Correct.
So TJ Friedl rocks.
Correct.
It's comparatively, you need him real bad.
You do. I will go right now to an easy one as we round out this first Red segment here. Ellie De La Cruz this spring, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. He has 36 at bats. He's got, what is that? 8 walks this spring, which I think is second on the team in second on the team in walks. He has 14 hits. He's got, what is that? 3 doubles, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. He's been everything you want. He's hitting 389 with a 500 OBP and a 722 slug, a 1.22 OPS. He has been absolutely incredible. And for anybody like me who had a little bit of a doubt last year that was going to be, a sophomore slump, there's no more sophomore slump in this guy. It's not in him anymore. He's a generational superstar. I would have liked the Reds to pay him. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to be in the cards. But from what I've seen this spring, overwhelmingly, I'm more excited on Ellie De La Cruz somehow than I thought was previously possible.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case on opening day, and then probably after the second game of the season, and then after the third game of the season, and then you wrap up the first series, you get into the second series, and every game you move on, you're more and more excited about Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, I don't know how long we have him left here in Cincinnati, but every game he's wearing red, I'm going to be thrilled to watch it. He's going to be unbelievable. Plus 1,500 to win MVP. I think that's an insane value. I mean, he's absolutely in that mix. He's absolutely one of the best players in the National League. He's one of the best players in baseball.
Yeah, he is.
Hell, he's on the cover of the video game that came out a couple days ago. So I absolutely love Ellie De La Cruz. I think he's a generational player. I can't believe he plays in Cincinnati, and I'm going to watch him every single chance I get.
Every single time. Casey, again, you said Matt McClain was probably your favorite player on the team. Where does Ellie rank? If Matt McClain's 1, is Ellie 2?
Yeah, Ellie's certainly 2. I mean, what a fantastic spring training he's had so far this year. That line right there gets you so excited. 389 average. I mean, we're talking about 500 on-base percentage. I mean, that is unbelievable numbers. I hadn't looked at it at all until because it's spring training.
It's spring training.
But
spring training
those numbers.
But,
I mean, those are MVP level numbers, right? I mean, those are just fantastic. You extrapolate that all out for the whole entire season, and my gosh, I mean, we've got a all-time great on our hands. And also too, like you guys said, I mean, he's like the bat discipline is better.
Way better.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable
Way
how
better.
much of an improvement.
And I think Terry Francona is a part of that.
For sure.
I know that David Bell was not the most beloved guy in this town. I just don't know how involved David Bell was with the guys. Nobody will ever know. I'm not going to sit here and slander David Bell like half the city did. I just think I think that Terry Francona is a difference maker, and I think he's going to be a major difference maker for Ellie De. He's going to be the kingmaker. Ellie De La Cruz is the king, and Terry Francona is going to keep him on the throne for as long as humanly possible. So we're going to end this segment. We're going to come right back to this. We got a couple more players I want to mention. And again, spring training is not that big of a deal to me personally.
Right.
I don't care about these numbers. I'm not going to look at the spring training numbers halfway through the season, but it does give us a baseline metric of how they're feeling right now heading into the season where I think by everything that we can think of should be an exciting year, if nothing else. I'm not saying playoffs. I'm just saying exciting. So ESPN 1410, Wing AM, Off the Bench, Elliot Rearing, Jacob Tissett, Casey McAllister, live from Champions Grill. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with you in a couple seconds. No music. That's the key. No music. No music. Today we are going to gamble so much. This is why I love.
I could sing.
You could sing?
I got a pocket,
No. There's people here. We can't be singing right now. My point being that today I'm going to lose so much money responsibly that it's probably going to financially ruin my day, at least my month probably, the end of March. We got a guy in here right now. His name's Lewis. I occasionally gamble with this young fellow, and Lewis last year he made a parlay with us, and this parlay, and I'm telling this story right now. I was going to wait, but I'm going to tell it now because he's sitting there. We had a parlay, two parlays roughly, with spreads during the tournament. I think it was during the Sweet 16 round, maybe Elite 8. The weekend of, it was the round of 32 then. And it was about 4 of us. We all made a parlay. And this parlay was looking great. It got to Saturday. And my guy Lewis cashed out. He had 2 parlays, roughly kind of the same type of things there. Maybe one had 1 more leg or one had 2 more legs. He cashed out of both before any of us could have said anything, and from that point on, I just called him the cash out boy. So that's what he's going to be for me until the end of time. But this is the best time of the year. Get some friends, get some parlays going. Make a couple brackets. I have made 15 brackets. I said I was going to do it like 3 this year.
I'm at 4.
15.
I'm at 4.
I've made 15 brackets. All of them different, but that's what we're talking about today. Just have fun gambling with friends. That's what it's about.
But I'm going to win.
Yeah,
You're going to lose. I'm going to win.
I guess. Again, more March Madness in a little bit. We're going to get some Reds and Bengals stuff out of the way here first. Back to the Cincinnati Reds spring training. We just had a segment discussing your confidence level and our confidence level in the Reds roster heading into opening day in about a week. Austin Hayes this year, I don't know what your expectation is for this guy. Austin Hayes is an outfielder, another platoon outfielder. Mm-hmm. Probably not going to see, if I had to venture to say, he's not going to be the starting outfielder for the entire year. I still have that going to Jake Fraley. We'll get to Fraley in a second. But Austin Hayes, in 34 at-bats, he's got 8 hits for what it's worth. 235, 297. He had the 2 home run game and 6 RBIs
that's right.
at some point this spring.
That's right. That's actually, outside Austin Hayes, that's all I'm taking.
Correct. Outside of that, I don't think I've seen a ton from him that I absolutely love, that I'm excited about. But he is going to be a contributor in somewhat in this outfield, the shaky outfield. I would say my confidence level with him is somewhat lower than just about anybody on the roster, maybe the lowest. Not counting Stu Fairchild. I don't even count him as a member of the Reds, no disrespect. But Austin Hayes is a guy I don't expect much out of this year. If he can be an all-star caliber player like he once was, that's great. I just don't see it at a platoon level in Cincinnati. But Jacob, your thoughts on Austin Hayes?
Love him. I think if he's not an everyday outfielder returning close to the 2023 form, then this Reds outfield is horrendous.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed, and I'm going to be optimistic here, and I'm going to say he's not quite an all-star, but puts up a shadow of those numbers, and he's a lot more fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Casey, you don't probably know a ton about Austin Hayes, but Austin Hayes, again, not supposed to be the world's greatest player. He's just supposed to be a utility guy. Do you have any confidence that Austin Hayes is going to be a competent utility guy?
I mean, offensively, just looking at the numbers here, and this is kind of a theme in this spring training that maybe we can discuss a little bit more. I mean, they're all striking out a lot. And that's I don't know if he's going to provide what you hope that he can provide on offense. I'm hopeful that you get something a little bit more than what he's shown so far, but I'm not super confident just from the talk from Chatterbox, from outside of Chatterbox, that he's going to be this guy that really elevates the outfield in a way that we're hoping for. I don't see it currently. That could change. I mean, you just said that he had a
all-star caliber season.
All-star caliber season. I mean, if he's got that in his belt, then maybe that's the risk that they're going to have to take this season, and we'll have to wait and see, because currently we haven't seen that level yet.
Correct. I haven't seen it.
And we were waiting on an outfield bat. Maybe Austin Hayes isn't better than a lot of the free agents people wanted wanted the Reds to sign, but Austin Hayes is certainly better than anyone we had in this team. So,
That's fair.
I think it certainly is going to be a step up if the alternative was bringing in nobody, which none of us wanted that to be an option, but it seems like that would be the alternative to Austin Hayes. Would have been they brought in nobody. And we're running out there with Stu and Friedel and Blake Dunn and Hurtubise and, all our dear friends from the end of last year. Maybe we call Livian Soto up, see what he's up to.
Did you say Levi Jordan yet?
Levi Jordan, throw him in the outfield. Yeah, so Austin Hayes at least gives us a buffer before we get to those guys. That's really the biggest thing.
Raise the floor.
That's right. That's right. I think that's what he is, with a better chance at having a high ceiling than a lot of other guys at his price point.
I agree. Another guy the Reds brought in to maybe play in the outfield, I would disagree with that decision, but Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux in 34 at-bats this spring, hitting 265, 432 OBP, 353 slug. He's been solid. I mean, I haven't seen too much to sway me against Gavin Lux this spring, but I'm going to temper my expectations. Gavin Lux was clearly not wanted on a Dodgers roster.
No.
Was
But
not
neither
needed.
were
Was not needed, I'll say.
Hassan Kim or Bobby Miller.
was not needed. And the Reds came in to pick up a decent player.
That's right.
He played a lot of games for the Dodgers, played about 140 odd games for the Dodgers last season. He contributed to a world championship caliber team. I think he can be an okay player. I just don't think that can be the move that puts you over the edge if you're the Cincinnati Reds, who already doesn't have an outfield, who right now is lacking a starting catcher. Like, I'm not going to bank on Gavin Lux to come in here and hit 20 home runs and produce runs at a level like I would have liked to see from a power outfielder. He's just not that guy, and I think he's better than Santiago Espinal. I think he's a great utility guy. I think he's Jonathan India, but can play defense in the infield. That's what I think he is.
Yeah.
Can he be better than that? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that he has no chance to be better than Jonathan India. I just think you replace Jonathan India with a left-handed Jonathan India who can maybe go in the outfield and play defense a little bit of a better level than him, because that's the big knock with Spencer Steer. And I think Spencer Steer, Jonathan India, Gavin Lux, these are all roughly the same type of players. I think Spencer Steer is a little bit underrated in Cincinnati when it comes to his run production. I think his power is better than what people think. I don't think he strikes out a lot. I think Spencer Steer's a good player. I don't even think Gavin Lux is going to be Spencer Steer this year. I don't think they're going to be on the same level. I think Spencer Steer, if healthy, mind you, he's not healthy. If he is healthy this year, I think Spencer Steer's a better player than Gavin Lux. But again, he could be a utility guy. But your role, or your confidence in his role being a utility guy with the Reds?
No clue where Gavin Lux is going to play, but if every time I say I don't think he's going to be that good, Kirby threatens my family. So I think Gavin Lux is going to be incredible. He's probably going to be an all-star, and he probably plays 162 games.
162
Every single one.
163, they'll get to the playoffs.
There you go. Oh, they'll lose the play-in.
They will.
They'll lose
bring
163.
Yeah, they'll bring. Yeah, do they still do that?
I'm sure they would if they're
tied.
tied.
They did it last year. No, that was just a series between the Mets and the Braves. That was just the end of the season series. But Casey, Gavin Lux, again, just another utility guy. I imagine you don't have much confidence in him, but your thoughts?
I mean, as a utility guy, I think that he provides a solid role for the team.
He's consistent. He's consistent.
Again, though, is a slap hitter. I don't know. He hasn't shown that he can be a power hitter this season. I mean, he's got 12 total bases this season, and then I guess he's really disciplined. He's walked 9 times. That I think is tied for first on the team. So, I mean, he can get on base, and that's all that you really need out of a utility player, if you ask me. So
Again, he's okay. He can do what you said. He can get on base. But he's not the guy that I'm looking for to help the Reds get over the edge. They've got a lot of similar guys. It's like they saw last year, and it's like, what? Okay, we're not going to really improve it, but what if we got more of the same?
Yeah,
that's kind of
because the Reds were awesome last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of what it felt like the Reds were doing. But nonetheless, again, Gavin Lux in 140 games with the Dodgers last year, he hit 10 home runs. He's never been a power guy. He's not going to be a power guy here in Cincinnati. But continuing on with the spring training discussion, Jake Fraley. Jake Fraley's a guy I'm very worried about. 33 at bats. I think he's got 5 hits. He's hitting 152, 282. No extra. I mean, what does he have? 1 extra base hit, 1 home run. So it's a disaster. I had confidence in Jake Fraley in this spring training, because I don't think he was that guy at the end of last year that you saw.
You know when SpongeBob flexes and his arm goes down?
Yeah.
That's Jake Fraley.
That's Jake Fraley.
At least in my mind this year. I think whatever the opposite of a corked bat is, someone did that to Ulf Rails. He used to be the rake. Now you just kind of move the leaves around. Nothing's leaving the park. I really wish we could get some of that power back. Maybe he proves me wrong this year. That would certainly be nice if he can be a power bat, or, I mean, not that he was ever a power bat, but if he can be a little bit of power in that outfield, it would certainly be a great thing to have. I am not going to hold my breath and wait on it. If Jake Fraley can hit 280 this year, that's going to be fine by me with all singles. I'll take it. I guess that goes back against the Luis Arias comment from a couple minutes ago, but I'll take it. He's going to be out there, so he might as well be getting the bat on the ball. I think he's probably one of our best options in the outfield, but if Casey's holding his breath waiting for one of these guys to be a power bat, this is not the one.
What's that smirk? What was that smirk?
What was funny is, in my mind, he said, he's not really a rake anymore, and I thought, man, he's kind of like a back scratcher that doesn't really get the scratch.
There you go.
So it's like, man, you're right. I mean, it's been pretty abysmal this spring training, but, I mean, I've seen what he's been capable of doing, and he hasn't been able to show that he's able to reproduce that in a year and a half now. So it's a little concerning, but I'm not going to be completely out on the idea that he can return to a little bit of former glory here.
And I want to say too, I'm a little biased towards Jake Fraley. I'm a big fan of him. I used to do a podcast with my friend Zach called the Rally Cap Podcast, and we would reach out to guys and ask for interviews and do stuff like that. I reached out to Jake Fraley. I was just looking for young baseball players at the time. I reached out to Jake Fraley via email. And I think the headline I used, or the subject of the email, was, "Don't read this email." I was just trying to get his attention. And sure enough, Jake Fraley emailed me back, I want to say within the hour, and said, yeah, I'll come on the pod. And I have the interview with him, interviewing him as a Mariner. Little did I know, 3 months later he'd be a Cincinnati Red.
Very cool.
So that's why I'm still a Jake Fraley guy, and you're never going to take me off him.
But he's bad.
He's struggling. And I don't know if he's going to be able to find it this season, and that's what I'm worried about. Because, again, if Austin Hayes isn't going to be an everyday outfielder, if Jake Fraley's not going to be an everyday outfielder, Will Benson's down in AAA, I don't know what we got out there.
But that's the thing about our everyday outfielders, is none of them are.
Correct. Correct.
That's a fun little game we play. Well, yeah, and we know how great he is in the outfield. Awesome.
You would feel so much better if just the team could show that they were a little bit more disciplined than they were last year.
Sure.
I was just looking.
Tino's going to do that.
I was looking at the numbers and the strikeouts this season. They're still in like the top 10 in spring training.
It's spring training.
I mean, I don't know. I'm hopeful that Tito can.
They have the 10th most strikeouts, you said?
Something close like that.
Yeah, that's about right.
About right. And I mean, you would feel so much better about some of these guys if you weren't relying so heavily on one of them to work out, right? That's what it really feels like, is we got a bunch of guys that we don't know if they're going to really take that next step forward, and it's just a tough place to be at right now.
That's also a thing we're going to be in that boat with, especially CES and Ellie, but I think a lot of these guys forever. I mean, even the best of Ellie De La Cruz or the best of CES, they're both going to be, top 10, 15 in the league in strikeouts?
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way they play. That's just the way they operate. That's just the way it's going to be. So I think we're going to have to get over that hump at some point of hoping this team doesn't strike out.
Sure.
We just have to get these guys to, when they are getting the bat on the ball, have those work out. If you're going to strike out a bunch, you got to be able to still get on base. That's just where we're at with a lot of these young guys and the way they play, whether we like it or not.
Two more names here. Jamier Candelario. He's hitting 200, 294, 367. Again, Jamier Candelario, I want this guy to be good. I need him to be good. He came to spring in shape. He looks healthy. He looks good physically. He just hasn't put up the numbers yet. Again, I'm not too worried about him. I'm not too worried about a veteran coming to spring training. I'm sure he spends a lot of time golfing or something fun out there. I'm not overly concerned about the status of Jamier Candelario because he's going to play this year. I am a little bit worried that he's not going to be a guy that's worth what we're paying him, and that seems to be a common trend with the Cincinnati Reds. You go out and get a bat, and it just doesn't work. Shout out to Fat Moose. But the Jamier Candelario situation, to me, all I care about for him this year is home runs.
Okay.
He hit what did he hit? 18 home runs. How many home runs did he hit last year?
Almost 20.
I should have looked that up before I started talking about it. But if Jamier Candelario can give me the power that I'm looking for this season, because the Reds haven't had a ton of power over the past I don't know how many years. Mm-hmm. If Jamier Candelario can be my power guy, I don't care about the average. I don't care about the OBP. I just want his home runs. That's all I want out of Jamier Candelario this year.
What's the number where you don't look at the other numbers? Like, what's the home run number where you don't scroll over and look at the slash line to see if you had a good year? Like, what's the
30
what's
home
just
runs.
it?
30 home
I think
runs.
I'm with you. Like, I thought you were going to say 40 or something way higher. I think the number's right around 30.
30 home runs. That's all I can expect out of Xavier Candelario, and I think that he's going to be that kind of guy this year, again, assuming he stays healthy. But your thoughts on Xavier Candelario as we head into the regular season?
I like him, I think, because we have to. He is the big free
point.
agency signing. He
That's a
is.
good
I mean, that's point blank of the situation is that's who it is. We paid him $15 million a year to come here for 3 years.
Yeah.
He didn't do it last year. And he had the power, which is something we're really going to need this year in the lineup and before he got hurt. But after he got hurt, even when he came back, he was battling through that all year long, and he really never had a chance to be Xavier Candelario, or at least be even a shadow of what we signed him to be. So I really, really hope he can stay healthy and he can play. I'm not confident that that's going to be at third base every day. I'm just not. I think he's going to live at the DH position, and that's where he's going to thrive for the Reds this season, and I think that's fine. I think when you have a guy like Xavier Candelario who gives you 90% of what he gives you comes in that batter's box. Obviously, you give him a $15 million contract because you think he can be your everyday third baseman. You think he can play defense. At his age right now, we saw last year, that's probably not feasible.
Yeah.
I would protect that bat. I would keep him in the lineup as often as possible at that DH position. I know with Jose Trevino and Tyler Stevenson gets back, he's going to be playing DH a lot, and we're going to have rotations, and that's fine. I'm not against playing Jamer in the field. I just think if we're going to try to protect him and have that bat as long as we can this season, the best route to do that is to have him be the DH and have him hit and try to protect against those injuries.
Yeah, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take a quick break right now. I'm going to have one last Reds name for you next segment, and then we're going to go switch into Bengals talk immediately after that. And after that, it's going to be March Madness.
There is a guard coming for a visit.
You said the Bengals were working on getting a punter yesterday? Is that what you told me?
They sent Darren Simmons to the Vanderbilt Pro Day. Jesse Mirko, ex-Buckeye, current Vanderbilt punter, biggest leg in college football. He was there running their long snapper and punter through drills.
Interesting. So let's after
they also had 2 All-American special teamers. So maybe you draft one of those guys, wide receiver corner, late in the draft that can help you in that rail.
I'll wait judgment. I'll wait my judgment. ESPN 1410 Wing AM live at Champions Grill. We're on Work Road. Be here all day. They've got, I think, the best, and you can maybe attest to this, Jacob. I think they've got the best TV situation
it's up
in the
there.
city.
It's definitely up there.
I'm counting over 30 TVs in here. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. It's a great place to watch March Madness. We got people in here already at 10A, so come on in to Champions Grill at some point today to go watch March Madness. I got a bunch of guys coming in later after work, so stop by after work. Leave work early. I'm telling you, leave work early.
John S. asks, is the food any good? The food is great.
The food is not good.
Is phenomenal.
It's fantastic.
They have everything you want. Burgers great. They have their own. They have chili here. What's the chili they have here? Empress chili. Phenomenal. Great stuff. Great establishment. ESPN
1410 Wing AM off the bench Chatterbox Sports presented by Champions Grill today, a special presenting sponsor. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with you. What's a regular sound? Something like that. It's something like that. You got it in you. ESPN 1410.
Everything I own in a box to the left.
That's terrible.
In the closet.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM presented by Champions Grill today. We're off Work Road, west side of Cincinnati. Come on over if you want to watch some great basketball.
I got to 52.
It's about the basketball.
52.
Yeah.
Counted the TVs.
Okay, 52. I think there actually might be more. I think you miscounted.
I didn't count.
Okay, that's fair. I knew you didn't count. But we're going to talk about the Bengals right now just for a little bit. I'm not going to go too Bengals heavy today. And our guy, by the way, and real quick before we start the segment, I think this is a fair question from our guy Lewis over here sitting right in front of us.
Yeah.
The Bengals right now paying their superstars, do you think at all that affects the Reds paying their guys?
I would if there was a salary cap. If there was equivalent deals like we talk about in the NFL where you see someone sign for $30 million and you say, oh, well, that's now what we have to pay, so-and-so. Or Myles Garrett hits $40 million for the highest paid non-quarterback. You say, oh, well, now that's what we have to pay Jamar. That doesn't exist in baseball, right?
Correct.
Trey Turner signs for $330 million. The Reds can't match the top of the market. The Bengals can because there's a cap and they have money and there's revenue sharing and everything along those lines. Unless there's some kind of massive change in the next 2-3 years for Reds salaries, for MLB salaries, it's not. I don't think it's comparable. Like, just because someone signs and gives you a benchmark for what Ellie's worth doesn't mean the Dodgers don't give him $1 billion.
Yeah.
And the Reds just can't compete with something like that.
I think there is like a little bit of a competition between these two franchises, these two organizations. There's always, the celebratory tweet. If one of them makes the playoffs, the other will rifle off a tweet. Congratulations to our brothers. Something silly like that. But outside of that, I don't know how much they're influenced by the other side. I think that the Reds have operated their way of doing things for a very, very long time. The Bengals are starting to change how they've done things for a very long time, and I don't know if the Reds are going to start, especially right now before whatever happens with the player association and what that's going to look
it's our
like
last chance.
in 3 years. So whatever the Reds do going forward regarding these contracts, I'm hoping they get a lot of them done before 2027. I'm really, really hoping that's the case. I don't know if it will. But, Casey, do you think there's any influence there between the Reds and the Bengals? Let's see the Bengals do something big. Does it put pressure? The Bengals going to a Super Bowl. Does it put pressure on the Reds to be successful as they sit in there with their, 4 playoff appearances in 30 years?
I think it puts, public pressure on them, but I don't think it, actually affects what they do in terms of how they if they're going to re-sign Allie De La Cruz or if they're going to give an extension out to Matt McLean. I just think that the optics of it certainly do affect how the Reds do business in a sense, right? I just don't see it actually affecting team operations.
That's fair.
I think it'll affect media perception, what they push out. Them trying to do more fan engagement and things like that, but I don't think it's going to change how they operate the team.
I agree. I just don't – I wish it were the case. I wish our owners were more involved with one another.
If the leagues were more similar, I think it absolutely would be.
Yeah.
Absolutely would be if the leagues were more similar.
But speaking of the Cincinnati Bengals, we do have news regarding that front.
That's right.
So I believe this is the guy who broke our superstar news the other day.
Sorry, let's start before we get to that.
Okay.
Let's start with the Bengals meeting today.
Go ahead.
Bengals will be hosting veteran guard, and he's played some center, Lucas Patrick, on a free agent visit tomorrow. He gets to Cincinnati tonight. This is the first concrete news of the Bengals being linked to a guard. We know the Bengals need to sign 1, maybe 2 guards in free agency before they get to the draft. Otherwise, we'll be starting Cordell Volson and Cody Ford at guard. Lucas Patrick, not on any short lists that we've been given out this offseason for the guard replacements. Not high on any of those lists. Positive, he was 7th in pass blocking efficiency on true pass sets last year amongst guards. Negative, he's never started at guard for an entire season.
Oh, boy.
Never been able to hold down a spot at starting guard for the entire season, and he is 32 years old, so he's had a lot of opportunities to do that. This is the definition of scraping the bottom of the barrel. This is a player who is not very good. One of the last players you could even call an upgrade over Cody Ford and Cordell Volson, and I wouldn't even be so soon to say that. He has a 60.3 PFF pass blocking grade that's 79th out of 135 qualified guards, 66 run blocking grade that's 47th out of 135 guards, 54th on overall grade, and if you do some quick math, how many guards start in the NFL, that's 64, 2 for all 32 teams. He's down there in the 50s. So not exactly what you want to see. If the Bengals do end up bringing in Lucas Patrick, it is not even close to a name that would make me happy with starting guards for the Bengals that next year. I would almost be just as happy sitting with Matt Lee and Cody Ford and those guys.
My reaction, I'm going to need another one of those.
Yeah. It's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. Look, for a team that going in, this feels a lot like the Reds offseason, right?
Yeah.
We go into the offseason, we say we got to get our guys done. Obviously, they're starting to do that. Already got the big 2 wide receivers done, working on Tre now, which we'll get to in a second. But the other thing we circled going into the offseason was we want to be able to focus on defense in the draft. Get us guards. Get us guards for this offensive line. Let's keep Joe Burrow upright. Let's keep these weapons. Let's keep the offense up to snuff so we can upgrade this defense and focus on that this offseason. Unable to do that now. You're going to have to take a guard in the draft very, very high. I'm talking second round, third round at the absolute latest. I don't think it's an option in the first, but at 49 or in the third round, you cannot leave without a guard you're confident starting week 1, and that's a real shame. So unless the Bengals can get something figured out with Tevin Jenkins, who they were loosely linked to earlier in this cycle, or Brandon Sheriff, who's been thrown out a little bit over the last couple days. Those 2 would be great solutions, but other than that, we are out of options. So get excited to watch Cody Ford and Cordell Volson play guard next year.
My question to you guys would be if they're weighing if this is what they're going to evaluate, that name you just said there.
Yeah.
Again, I don't
Lucas
know.
Patrick.
Thank you. Some guy that's mediocre, and no disrespect to him,
course.
but of course your numbers
I
say
don't
that.
think that's disrespect.
Yeah, I think that's just the truth. If that's how you're going to evaluate free agent talent right now, or guys that you can bring into Cincinnati that way, how important is the draft going to be this year then?
Incredibly.
Because this is not a guy that you're banking on being a long-term option for the Bengals.
No.
This is like an emergency guy. Like, it's you. I'll call on you when everybody else is hurt.
In our defense, I think that's what the answer is going to be for this guard. I think
Yeah.
the dream scenarios were always, Kevin Zeitler, Brandon Sheriff. Those would be 1-year deals for 32, 33-year-old guards. 1-year stopgap's not a bad solution.
Yeah.
If you get a stud guard in the draft.
Yeah.
Think about last year. We signed a 1-year solution at right tackle. We signed Amarius Mims. Or Trent Brown, and then we draft Amarius Mims. Trent Brown goes down. Obviously, Amarius Mims slides in. Doesn't have a great season, but certainly trending in the direction we all want. Very exciting young player in Cincinnati. We feel good about our tackle positions. Maybe we do the same thing with guard with his teammate Tate Ratledge from Georgia. I think that's something that I would be really, really interested in, bringing in a Lucas Patrick-esque, ideally alongside a Tevin Jenkins or a Brandon Sheriff, but then drafting a guard in that second round so that I can not have to start someone. You have options, and I just don't think that's going to happen for the Bengals anymore.
That the problem is, though, with your solution, Jacob, they got to do 2 guards. They got to
You're
get
right.
2 guards. I mean, it's
You're right.
unbelievable that we're at this point.
Remember a couple days ago when I asked you if Cordell Volson would be starting at guard week 1, and you said, no, Jacob, they wouldn't do that. The Bengals wouldn't do that. Look where we're at.
They can't.
Look where we're at.
So,
it would be malpractice at this point.
Go through our our draft picks right now, Casey. We have 6 picks. We don't have our 7th. Shout out Khalil Herbert, a generational superstar we gave up potentially for Khalil Herbert. Your 6 picks as of right now. Again, if these are the names we're going to throw out for guard signings, how important up in the line of these top 2 picks does it mean for the Bengals to take a guard?
You know what? I'm starting to – if this is the direction that they're wanting to go towards, I might even suggest that maybe 17 – I know Tyler Booker didn't test well. You go Tyler Booker 17, you go Tate Ratledge at 49, and you just have your offensive line figured out for the rest of the 4 or 5 years you got the offense together. I know that sucks, but that's what we're talking. We're talking about even worse guard play than what we had last year, and they were already the worst. I mean, how can you possibly go into the season not having a solution there? It is just mind-boggling that we're at this point now where we're talking about Patrick Lucases of the world. I haven't even heard the name until you brought it up, and he's never had starting roles. I mean, that's just not going to cut it. Not going to cut it for me, at least.
A good question by Nate. You want Kappa?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not, because you also have to remember you're not just getting Alex Kappa over Lucas Patrick. You're getting Alex Kappa at $9 million over Lucas Patrick at about $2 million.
Sure.
So you're getting the same level player for about a $6 million in savings. I wouldn't necessarily go quite as far as Casey, reaching for Booker at 17. I think the testing really put that in the gutter. I don't really love him as much at 49 anymore, if I'm being incredibly honest with you. I think where we really could thrive is with potentially a Gray Zabel type of player from North Dakota State in the first round. He's a really good guard prospect that's played a lot of tackle, can move him down inside. Or in the second round, like I said earlier, I would love to reach for Tate Ratledge at 49. I think that's right about the top of where he's about to go, right in the middle of that second round into the third. I know a lot of mocks have him going in the third round for the Bengals. I don't care about a reach. I would get that done. Go defense, go pass rusher in the first round, go get a guard in the second round that you're confident in starting. He started next to Mims for a year. At Georgia, you have a little bit of continuity there. I think that would be a dream pick for the Bengals, and you get right back in to addressing the pass rush in the third round. Go get another D lineman, go get another edge. I don't care, but you got to address two things. You got to keep Joe Burrow upright, and you got to keep their other quarterback on the ground. So the Bengals have to focus on pass rush. We have Lewis in the crowd recommending Luke Kandra from UC as a potential fit for the Bengals, and I would absolutely be in. My only concern with that is I see a lot of people in the replies on Twitter saying, reach for Kandra in the second round, reach for Kandra in the third round. That's a fourth or fifth round answer. That's a fourth or fifth round guard, and I absolutely think he could be one of those mid-round picks where we're looking around week 1, week 2 next year, scratching our heads saying, how did he last that long? He's a dominant, powerful blocker, great in the run game, has a little bit of ways to go in the pass game, but he's a really, really exciting player that I would love to keep here in Cincinnati, but not exactly going to be at the top of my list as we talk about guard solutions because I would like to draft one a little earlier than that.
Yeah, your sentiment is maybe it's not Tyler Booker, but you feel the same way I do.
No question.
It's the first 3 picks that you have.
No question. I just don't know that one, unless a tackle that really is surprising falls that we think we can bump down for the next 2 years at the end of Orlando Brown's contract, unless a Will Campbell or Armand Membu or Marcus Bowe, one of those guys is there. I'm all over it, but I'm not necessarily reaching for any of these true guards in this draft class.
That's fair. That's fair. And switching over to the defense right now, I'll bring it up as we wind down this Bengals segment. Jordan Schultz, obviously the guy who told Bengals fans
was with T and Jamar after their signing.
Who told Bengals fans that T and Jamar are going to stay in Cincinnati for the foreseeable future. He tweeted out in response to the Bengals saying, actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder, I guess, is all they said. They tweeted out a video saying the Bengals weren't going to get it done.
Yeah.
Then Jordan Schultz comes over the top and says, and there's still one more to go, Bengals fans. And then he put his little,
yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. We've heard a lot of bubbles over the last couple days since those two receivers signed their extensions that maybe a Tre Hendrickson deal is back on the table. Maybe the Bengals are reopening negotiations. Maybe they're working to get something done. The Bengals are prioritizing bringing Hendrickson back now that those other two are done. And I'm all in. I'm all in. It still comes down to the main question we had coming into the offseason. What's that number?
Yeah.
What's that number? Has Tre Hendrickson moved or are the Bengals moving? And I think that's a huge question for me. I know everyone hears Tre Hendrickson could potentially be coming back to the Bengals, and you jump for joy. You talk about how ecstatic you are, and oh my God, we might get all 3 done. This is so awesome. If that takes a 3-year, $90 million extension,
no.
I'm not ecstatic about getting that done. Would I love Tre Hendrickson back? Absolutely. I don't think a 30-plus-year-old edge rusher, especially when we get into that age 32, age 33 season at the end of that extension, is worth nearly $32 million. So I know the Bengals defense was horrendous last year. You remove one of the only great players on it. It's not an easy pill to swallow when you're trying to fix it. But I also don't think the answer here is to dump $31 million, $32 million for the next 3 years into Tre Hendrickson. If he's willing to come back on a 2-year deal, that's awesome for me. I think that's great for the Bengals. If he's willing to come back and not hold out, go to training camp on a 1-year extension, give him a $14 million signing bonus, get him up to that $30 million range without messing with the cap too much. I think that would be a great way to go as well for the Bengals. I do think Tre Hendrickson plays for Cincinnati next year. There is no doubt in my mind. The question is, how dirty does it get this offseason? Is there a holdout, and is it just this year?
One player accumulating more than half of probably the talent on a defensive roster, not good. I mean, it's just not good. And that's why I'm hesitant to keeping Tre here and not fixing the issues at hand, issues at hand. I know taking away Tre is an issue. When you take away 17.5 sacks from a team that ranks 26th in sacks, it's a problem.
Yeah.
I just think for $30+ million, there's other things the Bengals can do. Now, again, I don't trust the Cincinnati Bengals to go out and find the biggest defensive free agent in the world. A, because it's already passed. You can't do it anyway anymore. And B, I just think that's how they've done business. They don't do that anyway, and they're not going to start now. I think Tre Hendrickson's important for next season. And I've said it again, I'll say it again, he is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal next year. It's just whether or not you want him to be happy when he's in stripes. I think the Bengals are starting to slowly move. I imagine this is kind of a joint deal. He's worth more than $15 million. He is. $16 million. He's worth more than that. He knows that. His agent, who messed up all this for him, knows
His
that.
agent might not know that. He signed that contract.
His agent, no disrespect to that guy, but that guy, I mean, what is he doing? I mean, that guy comes out of this looking like the worst agent in the history
He's like
of
Mulligeta's
sports.
evil twin. Mulligeta tries to get his guys every last dollar, and whoever Tre's agent is just like, yeah, Bengals, what do you want to give him? 16? Yeah, sounds good. 3 years? For sure.
But Tre coming back next year, and I kind of said it yesterday, I want every distraction the Bengals can possibly have eliminated by the start of camp. That's what I want. I want an entire camp. I want everybody to be healthy, hopefully, and I want all the contract distractions, negotiations. I want it all done. I want it done so the Bengals can start a season hot for seemingly the first time ever. I know they beat, the Vikings one time in Week 1 under Zach Taylor, but outside of that, Zach Taylor has not had the Bengals ready to go for Week 1. Whether that's his fault, whether that's Joe Burrow's injury's fault, whether that's the organization's fault. I'm done blaming everybody. All I want is the distractions to be gone. But Casey, your thoughts on the Bengals potentially bringing back Tre here?
I'll keep it short, and I think with Danielle Hunter, that contract that was signed last night, that it feels, or maybe it was this morning, I don't quite remember. I woke up to the news.
It was yesterday.
I do feel like if you were to offer him the exact same thing, I would be happy with that. I think that's the maximum deal that I would be comfortable with, where you're giving him a little bit more money this year, you're giving him one more year, and then you go your separate ways. And I think that, you guarantee most of the extension, and I think it gets done because you're giving him security. That's what the theme of his message has been, is that he wants security for him and his family. And I think the best way to do that, guarantee $60 million for him.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that. Now, do the Bengals have that sort of cash flow? I don't know. I mean, they just spent $1 bajillion on Chase and T. Higgins. But I think that sort of deal would be the thing that could get it done. And if you're not going to do guarantees, you're going to have to sacrifice the years.
Sure.
And I just don't think the Bengals are willing to do a longer-term deal with him to get that done.
I also don't think Trey Hendrickson will sacrifice either. I mean, very honestly, if he would have sacrificed age or years or money at this point, he would have signed a contract by now. I very much believe that. And he's emphasized a lot that long-term security is what they need most, and I just don't see that happening for the Bengals. I think if I had to put money on it right now, it'd be that 1 year extension for right around $30 to $32 million.
Which I'd be more than happy with. I'm going to be honest. We're late for a break. ESPN 1410 Wing AM Chatterbox Sports Off the Bench, presented today by Champions Grill. Again, we're on the west side of Cincinnati. Come on down to Champions Grill. We're open all day long watching March Madness. It is the best 2 days of the year, maybe the best day of the year on the sports calendar, the first Thursday of March Madness. We've got 75 TVs is what Jacob said in here.
I think we're up to 82 last count.
TVs.
82. One more than Kobe.
If you come in here, we've got picture frames on the walls of all the the local teams in Cincinnati.
Well, 02 national champion Buckeyes right there.
Yeah, I do see that.
End of the Miami program.
I noticed there's not a ton of St. X gear. I'd like to make that known.
There is. There's a jersey right there.
I didn't see it.
Red numbers.
Yeah, it's over there by the garbage can.
Let's go Bombers.
But that's it. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
While you were doing all that, another Georgia football player just got arrested for reckless driving.
There you go. There you go. That's a shot from an Alabama fan.
No, Nitro Tuggle.
Oh, is that real?
Oh, yeah, just happened.
Is that real?
Nitro Tuggle, 5-star wide receiver, just arrested.
Oh, boy. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back. What a way to end that last segment. What a way.
It's breaking news.
And you're smiling. The smile on your face, Alabama boy.
Old Kirby.
A smile on your face.
You divide his... Never mind.
We've talked enough about the Reds and the Bengals. It's time to talk about the bracket.
That's
the
right.
First time on this show, we're going over March Madness. I guess I should probably finish my headlines too. Actually, I forgot to do that, so I'm going to quickly do that. Down the line here, it's an important note. Will Wade has reached an agreement to become North Carolina State's head coach.
It's also important to note that he's informing the McNeese team that he has not reached an agreement.
So there's some conflicting reports on whether or not Will Wade is going to be the coach of NC State. It's looking like that's pretty much
now,
finalized.
my question for you, if you're Will Wade,
I
will wait for you.
I will wait for you.
And you take, or don't take,
the
NC State job.
Sure.
Would you tell your McNeese players you're gone before your biggest game of your life?
No.
Right.
No. That was the whole issue with what Brian Kelly did to UC. I am very much against that. I'm very much against that news coming out before you take on the first game of your tournament against Clemson. I think that's stupid. But nonetheless, that news breaks. Another coaching news: Darian DeVries. His Indiana presser was yesterday. There is now some confusion.
Cheater, liar.
As to when that job was accepted.
At Maui.
I think based on what I heard yesterday, there's allegedly. I mean,
I'm not even gonna.
I think that job was allegedly offered to him, maybe even before the year.
He took that job in Maui,
and obviously, I believe his son on the team out with injury.
Well, you know how many games he played.
Just
the exact maximum, so you could still redshirt.
Interesting how that works.
You know what he had in the games leading up to that? 30 points and then 15 in like 5 minutes before he got hurt.
Yeah, I mean that's an all-time bad way to go if you're a West Virginia fan. You missed the tournament. Maybe he told the committee. Do you think he told the committee?
Well, the reason they were left out was
because of his son.
Because Tucker didn't play.
Yeah.
So he basically did.
I think
he could not get out of Morgantown fast enough.
I think
he wanted to get out of there so bad.
Absolutely insane. Casey, do we have the clip of Sean Miller? I wanted to run that. If not, don't worry about it. But I wanted to my final thoughts on the Xavier game yesterday. I was texting with our group chat last night. I thought that game was the kickoff of the tournament that we needed. I know a lot of people don't stay up that late because it's absurd.
No.
March Madness games on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night are tipping off at 9:35. But that game was incredible. From halftime on, it was as competitive as you could have wanted. I thought some Xavier role players stepped up big time. Foul trouble became an issue. I thought the referees did a poor job at various points during that game. And I think if Xavier takes that momentum and moves on to Illinois, I don't think Illinois is stopping them. I really don't think Illinois is going to stop him. So that's a hell of a win for Xavier. Sean Miller last night after the game, I believe this is with our good friend John Rothstein.
Oh, very nice.
Our very good friend John Rothstein.
He doesn't sleep for a while now.
Doesn't sleep for a long time. But this is Sean Miller after one of the more exciting March Madness games I've seen in a very long time.
Sean, this is March. 2 years ago, you lost to Texas in the Sweet 16. Now you're back. You've had a lot of big NCAA tournament wins in your life. Where does this one rank?
This may be one of the best that I've ever been a part of, just in terms of game. I thought we were dead in the water 2 different times. But I will tell you, that's the one thing about our team. The resiliency of the group has always won out for us. Just when you thought, we're not going to make the tournament, we kept winning. And just even in this game, just when you're it's not going to work out, we have a funny way of staying with it. And a lot of it's for this guy right here.
Zach was injured time and time again, year after year. He was hurt earlier this season. But when the game was in the balance, he made the go-ahead shot. What was going through your body in terms of those emotions when this guy put you ahead?
The basketball gods always reward the player that does every single thing right in that biggest moment of his career. I really believe it. And with this guy, nobody has worked harder at the game, harder to come back than he has. I mean, you can imagine the dark days that he's gone through. He has always persevered. And you look at it, it was for this moment. I knew he was going to make it. I knew.
Illinois is next. Congratulations on this win, but your thoughts on the Illini?
I could care less. I don't even care. I'm just glad we won.
Thanks, Sean. Congratulations.
I love that answer. I do like that answer. Again, Xavier 86-80 over Texas last night. Down by I don't know how many points.
13, I believe.
13 was the largest lead. It felt big at various points. Again, Lewis in here sitting right in front of us, a diehard Xavier fan, was at the game. How much of a home game was it? Electric, he says. It sounded, he's saying it was borderline louder than Cintas. So good for all the Xavier fans that were there. Again, our good friends Justin Kinner, Reed Mouse in attendance, Mouse Cop in attendance. My good friend Adam was in attendance at that game. A lot of good friends there cheering on the Musketeers. So good for them. Marcus Foster, 22 points, a season high, 11 for Conwell. After getting in foul trouble early, picked up that third foul a little bit before the end of the first half. Swain, 11, 15 for Freemantle, 10 for Maddox last night. Again, 9 for Jerome Hunter. They looked absolutely incredible.
They'll get squished out by Brad Underwood and the boys.
We'll see. I'm a big
like a bug. Put them out.
There was a moment last night where I thought they were going to pull a UC and just lose a game because of free throws.
Yeah,
they're a great free throw shooting team, top 10 maybe in the country in free throws, I think. And last night was absolute. It was a disgusting effort. I don't know what that was. I think the rims there. I'm hearing allegedly that the rims of the balls.
I have some ball March Madness ball news.
Okay.
So I was reading about the balls because they always tough March Madness with the basketballs,
sure.
Right? So the balls they use for March Madness are oranger.
Okay.
Because of the TV broadcast. There's a different tint than the normal Wilson Evolution.
All right.
Those oranger basketballs have more cushion on the padding around the rubber. So when the people in these gyms are pumping the balls up and they squeeze them, a lot of times that cushion has the give.
Yeah.
So they think the balls are more underinflated than they are, so they up the PSI above the recommended number because they squeeze it and they get that cushion. So all these balls are overinflated because the people in these gyms aren't used to the new cushion on the oranger tournament balls.
Interesting. All right, so this is a Tom Brady
What I would
situation.
say is let's measure it.
Okay, let's
use a number.
Let's measure it.
Let's just use a number.
That's what that.
Yeah.
There's ways to measure.
No gauge is crazy, but that's why unders usually do well, and also depth perception in a lot of football arenas.
Yes. Sean Connor in the chat right now, he's pumping up my forearms because he knows on Saturday not only will these basketball teams be competing for a championship, I'll be competing for a championship. I actually competed right here at Champions Grill.
I'll be there.
For the Papa Shot Championship.
Other side.
For the Papa Shot Championship. So I'll be there Saturday. No free ads to the other bar. But Champions Grill, again, hosted us for that event. I'm very excited to participate this Saturday. So come support me. Come out there and watch me
I will
shoot
be
mini
there.
baskets. Casey, will you be there? The chat's saying you're sad right now. Are you sad?
Sad?
Yeah, they're saying you're sad.
Casey sad?
Yeah, that's what they said.
No, I don't think I'm sad.
His vibes are there.
Yeah.
The amazing. Okay, so now this is where it gets interesting. I have to read Super Chats live on air here at Champions, and nobody's going to understand this nickname, but this is what he is in our chat. The amazing fetus for $2. Elliot versus Fetus Papa Shot Challenge if I stop by. If there's a Papa Shot thing that we can get
There's
up here,
not.
I'll talk to Tim, and if I can buy one and ship one out here by the end of March Madness today.
Amazon.
That's what we'll do. Or Amazon. Justin Edgel, $1.99. You guys are going to need to hit my music soon. I don't know what that means.
Is he coming to the bar and then he wants entrance music like WWE?
Maybe that's what he's talking about. There's no way of knowing.
Oh my God! It's Justin Edgel's music.
I don't know what we would play for him.
I don't
Would it be
either.
Bob Marley, maybe. I don't know what we would give him. So, all right, going over to the bracket for today. I guess we'll just start with the games today. At 12:15. At 12:15.
That's right.
We're not doing bets.
I'm not.
We're just
Hold on
doing
my
picks.
bracket.
8 versus 9. Louisville versus Creighton. Louisville. It is a home game.
That's right.
But at the cost of like 4 seeds.
Yeah, I've completely flipped my tune on this. I think Louisville's one of the biggest winners of Selection Sunday. I think if you asked a lot of these teams in that 5 through 8 range, like ask Wisconsin, for example. They're a 3 seed. Would you think Wisconsin would rather be a 3 seed and play in Seattle or be a 5 seed, 6 seed and play in Milwaukee?
See,
I think they would absolutely rather be a 5 seed.
They'd rather be the 5 seed. But here's my thing. Again, the line for Louisville was 4 to 8. That's 4.
I don't think they were ever going to be a 4 seed. The ACC is way too bad.
They were ranked. How did North Carolina get in then?
because they're brand and they're ADs in charge of the committee.
Well, that's true as well. And I think DeVries eliminated West Virginia.
Clemson was a 5, and they were the second best team in the ACC. Like, they told you the ACC wasn't very good.
But I think Louisville's good. I'm going to ride with Pat Kelsey in this game. It's a home game, like Jacob said,
Yeah.
and I do think that matters. I think if anything, Xavier benefited from that last night more than anybody so far. It was absolutely a home game for the Xavier Musketeers, and I have a firm belief that was a large reason as to why they won, the sixth man. So 8 versus 9. Casey, we'll start with you. The Blue Jays taking on the Cardinals.
Out of all the birds in the world, I like the color blue. I like Blue Jays a lot, so I think I'm going to go with Creighton here. It's an 8 versus 9. It's a toss-up. It's a coin flip. I'm going with Creighton, though. I think Big East is going to show and shock a lot of people.
Okay.
Get ready to learn Chucky Hepburn, Papa. Stephen Ashworth, too busy raising his kid to lead a team. I don't think Creighton has a chance. I'm taking Pat Kelsey. Elder. Let's go to Louisville.
I told Jacob this. There's a couple picks on my bracket that I fluctuate between. I have not taken Creighton in any of my 15
Have
brackets.
not budged.
Not one.
Have not budged.
I'm taking Louisville minus 2.5. Not betting. I said we weren't doing betting.
Right.
I broke my own rule. 13.
See, my thing with this game, especially Louisville-Creighton, first game, first tip-off,
Sure.
it's really hard for Louisville to get to my Elite Eight if they don't win this game.
So
I really need Louisville to win this game.
Very, very difficult. 13-seeded High Point versus 4-seeded Purdue. I believe, if my information's correct, High Point is the most bet underdog money line today.
This was also their least desirable matchup, according to one of their coaches.
High Point runs a fun offense. Paul Frischner came on the show a few weeks ago and said High Point could be the team that makes a run. I'm not a big believer in Purdue. I just think this is the public is so high on wanting an underdog that they're not going to get it on this one. I'm going to take the Boilermakers over High Point.
Yeah, I'm on Purdue as well. Once you get public all on one underdog, they're not the underdog that gets it done. I think this is an incredibly chalk tournament, top to bottom, no matter what. So the upsets, the very few upsets that I am going to pick and bet on, are not going to be the ones the public are riding.
That's fair.
So I am not on High Point. I do not think they match up well with Purdue. We're going to get to another underdog coming up here, I think, in a little bit. Maybe they play tomorrow, but another guy that I really, really wanted to bet on but won't because of the matchup. There's a couple of those across this tournament. One of those is High Point. I was really, really excited to take them, but I'm just not going to do it against Purdue.
Casey, is it a sweep? Is High Point going to lose to Purdue?
Like my favorite song ever from the Royal Bloods, head like a cocktail shaker, living in a house like an old bodega, got the odds looking in my favor, staring at the bottom of a Boilermaker.
Wow.
Bring it all together.
That was your favorite song from them, huh?
Bring it all together.
Can you give me another song from them? Royal Blood, your favorite band?
Could not.
Oh, that's good.
We'll take Purdue in that one. 14-3 Wisconsin over Montana. I think Montana sucks. Respectfully, of course, to the good state of Montana. I'm sure a lot of exciting things
They are
happen
the
there.
worst team in the field.
But I think they're not good. In Wisconsin, what you saw on Sunday, Lewis and I unfortunately bet on Wisconsin that day, was a poor display. Here's what I'll say. Those conference tournament games, I imagine not a lot of excitement and energy was brought to the Wisconsin team for a game that literally has nothing to do with the field of the tournament.
Right, yeah. My favorite thing about I've been high on Wisconsin all year long. I've said up until about a month ago I thought they were the best chance for the Big Ten to break that streak of not winning a title since 2000. Obviously, at this point, with the way they're playing against Michigan State, there's really no question about that. Maybe even Maryland above Wisconsin. But I really do like Wisconsin. I think John Tonji is one of the most exciting players in the entire country. I saw this question asked on one of the college basketball podcasts I was listening to last night. If you took John Tonji and just put him in a black penny, just straight black penny, no number, no name, and nothing, and just put his highlights on, how long would it take you in the list of Division I college teams to get to he plays for Wisconsin? Because he doesn't look anything like a Wisconsin player.
I would imagine like
100 teams?
Yeah.
There's no way you get to Wisconsin. Sunday was one of my favorite games of the entire year because Twitter was loaded up with people saying, oh, same old Wisconsin stinks, yada, 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 in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Oh, Wisconsin's terrible. They're playing in the Big Ten championship.
They
won
look terrible.
But they won 3 games in 3 days. They were playing their 4th game in 4 days. They're tired. The ball's tired. It's not going in the hoop. They're going to be fine. They're going to stomp Montana. It's not going to be great after that.
They'll make 45 threes in that game.
They're a really, really good team.
3-14. Any upset here?
No, I'm actually going to go with the Badgers and Luke Fickell, the football.
There we go.
Badgers.
Big extension.
They got the right guys in the building to get a W here. So
Greg Gard's a great coach.
He is a great coach. He's a great coach. We'll save our breath. By the way, Wisconsin, Montana tipping off at 1:30 roughly. Houston, SIUE.
One of my favorite bets of the entire day.
2 o'clock.
We're not betting.
2 o'clock, Houston. We're not betting right now. I don't think we got to take our time here.
No, we should. We should because I have some Houston stats.
Okay,
and
all
this
right.
is going to be my only chance to talk about it.
I'll take Houston in this one. Jacob told me a stat. Yeah,
I was going to get to my Houston stats.
All right, you were going to do the Houston stats.
All right, so Houston's my favorite team in this entire tournament. I think they should have been the number 1 overall seed. I don't really think it was particularly close.
Yeah.
Auburn lost 3 of 4 to end the season. Duke played in a terrible ACC. Houston, I think, is the best team in the country. They've lost 1 game this season in regulation. That game came in November. They lost to Auburn 74-69 in Maui. That's the game, if everyone remembers. Auburn got in a fight on the plane. So Houston had no chance in winning that game. They were 1 stop away at the end from getting the ball back with a chance to take the lead.
Yep.
They lost that game by 5. Since then, they lost to Alabama. They lost to San Diego State. They lost to Texas Tech, all 3 in overtime. This team is very, very good. They've played 2 teams outside of the top 250 in Ken Pom. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they won 87-51, and they played Jackson State. They won 97-40. They suffocate bad teams. They're the best defensive team in the country. They're going to win this game going away. Not that 1 seeds don't usually, but this is going to be a complete and utter domination.
Houston, we have a problem here, and it's the Cougars.
There we go.
Nice.
Let me tell you, they were one of the few teams that actually lost to Green Bay this year.
No. SIUE was. I thought you said Houston was.
No, SIU.
That's actually the best stat you could have shown me right there.
Yeah.
They lost by 30. Kinner's best friend, Doug Gottlieb, they beat SIU Edwardsville 82-57. What was the date on that? They got a date on that?
The date of this
It's all right. It's all right.
November 19th.
November 19th.
So with the last time Houston lost a regulation game, the team they're playing lost to Doug Gottlieb.
That's right. Actually, it was before.
Okay.
So that's what's hilarious about it.
1, 2, 3 seeds. When the
total's
total's under 145.
145.
Are 17-3
That's a good
against
stat.
the spread.
That's
I
a
love
good
that
stat.
stat considering I already bet on Houston this morning.
Going down some of these, we're going to have to speed these up a little bit.
Go for it.
Auburn, Alabama State. We saw Alabama State win on a Hail Mary
It's
buzzer
Auburn.
beater.
Skip the 116s.
They've already exhausted their Hail Mary. Well, you told me not to skip the other one. That was a big Houston stat one.
I don't care about Auburn. Auburn sucks. I hate Auburn.
Casey, you on Auburn on that one?
I hate Auburn.
I cannot, in good faith and good conscience, be rooting for Auburn at any point in my life when I know that Jacob is sitting across.
That's right.
No, actually, I'm going to take Alabama State. Chad Baker, we're 10 minutes in. So how long are halves in college basketball? 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
We're
about.
8 minutes into the first half against Alabama State. Chad Baker-Mazzara climbs up on the bench, jumps off, flying elbow to the starting point guard of Alabama State. You can't say it's not going to happen. We've seen it happen 3 times. Then he'll turn to the ref and complain about it. How could you call that? They'll throw him out. He'll cry, complain on Twitter. He's 25. He's coming back next year.
I think the beer's hitting his head. All right, continuing
Hold on.
on.
I have a fun Chad Baker-Mazzara stat.
You said we were not doing stats for 116s.
Well, you know, you asked. Chad Baker-Mazzara is 333 days. That's not quite a full year.
Okay.
Chad Baker-Mazzara is 333 days younger than 8-year NBA vet Luka Doncic.
How about that?
And he has 1 more year of eligibility. He'll be back next year for Bruce Pearl and the Tigers.
Unbelievable. Okay. All right. Rolling on here with today. McNeese, 12 seed, taking on 5 Clemson. That's at 3:15. McNeese just found out they don't have a coach.
Yeah, I hate Clemson so much, but I'm going to bet on them in this game.
I'm also going to bet on Victor Locken, my good friend Victor Locken, and the Clemson Tigers.
Brad Brownell.
So we got 2 on Clemson.
They don't have a coach? Yeah, just give me Clemson.
He's growing with Clemson. VCU, BYU, 11-6. Probably one of the more popular upsets in March Madness. I'm going to go with BYU. I'm not going to take VCU.
Yeah.
I've seen enough. I watched VCU play on Selection Sunday. Didn't impress me one bit. I'll roll with the Big 12 on that.
I'm a big-time BYU lever. I'm rocking with them all day.
Nice. Are you a BYU lever?
I mean, I guess that's
It's way too fun to say for you to root for VCU. I should probably pick VCU. We don't want that guy coming after me.
That's right. Georgia, the 9 seed, taking on 8 Gonzaga today at 4:35. This might be my bet of the day, and I know the public's all over it. But Gonzaga over Georgia, I don't think it's a question. I told Jacob this. I'm fading every SEC team in this tournament. I'm going to get them all out of this tournament swiftly, and it's going to start right here. Gonzaga knocks Georgia down, and they're not going to be able to get back up.
Yeah, everyone's telling me in this chat how great St. John's is. St. John's to the Final Four. Rick Pitino hoisting the trophy. Only him and Coach Cal have led 3 teams to the Final Four. This will be Rick Pitino's 4th. Georgia took care of them earlier this season in New York. I think they're going to take care of business here as well. Gonzaga's been to 9 straight Sweet 16s. That ends this year anyway. They're not getting past Florida, so I'm taking Georgia in this one.
We got a dog fight.
Nice.
Yeah.
He was
And,
waiting for that. You saved that one up.
You know what? I think Georgia's going to lose this one, and they're going to, be okay because the big news about Georgia is Nitro. And
Yeah, Nitro toggle.
Yeah,
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right, Tennessee. We'll go another SEC team. Tennessee at 650 taking on 15 Wofford. I'll take the Retrievers here, and I'm going to take Wofford with the points, but this is not a gambling segment. Tennessee wins the game, and it's not close.
Wofford has the guy that shoots free throws underhand. Thought he shot him well. He does not. About a 38% free throw shooter. So
in theory.
that means nothing.
Okay, Lewis is saying take the spread on that one.
Yeah,
which is
but
gonna make me sad.
what that doesn't tell you about taking Tennessee spread is you would then be betting on Rick Barnes in March, which is a terrible,
Bad idea.
terrible
Bad
idea.
idea.
Terrible
You say
idea.
numbers don't
Numbers
lie,
don't
but
lie
I have a
until
number
they
too.
do. Remember what the Ken Palm stat was
I
until the
remember it.
2014 UConn one? Then they
I
moved those
remember it.
numbers around.
That's
so
right.
numbers don't lie until they do.
Casey, Tennessee, or Wofford?
can someone brush me up? Has Tennessee ever made it to a Final Four?
They have not. Rick Barnes has
shucks.
not.
Rick Barnes
Well,
has.
Rick
Well,
Barnes
you know what?
has. Tennessee has not?
At Texas, he did.
That's right.
One of my best friends is a huge Volunteers fan. I'm just going to give him his kudos here. He's going to win at least one round in the NCAA tournament.
All right, we'll take that. Going over to 10 versus 7, battle of probably the two of the best coaches in this tournament at 7-10. Arkansas versus Kansas, 10 versus 7. Arkansas down a player. We knew that coming in, but officially ruled out as of yesterday. I'm going to take Kansas. I think it might have a little bit to do with the fact that I have a future on them, and I just think I have to believe in Kansas at this point. But I think Kansas is the better team as of this second. I don't think Arkansas is very good. I don't think Arkansas is great. The fact that they're a 10 seed is honestly a joke. They should have probably been in the first four, in my opinion. But nonetheless, Arkansas versus Kansas, I'm rolling with Kansas.
Arkansas gets Boogie Fland back. Noticeably worse team with him playing. So Kansas all day. A disappointing season for Bill Self, but he gets to a Sweet 16.
I don't want to get fired, so I'm going to say go Kansas, go
That's right.
Jayhawks.
There we go.
That's right.
Our boss being a huge Kansas fan.
That's right.
It's a crime what they did to Ryland Griffin.
That's right. 725, 13 Yale, 4 Texas A&M. Yale, again, probably has one of the more underrated coaches in all of college basketball. I think they're a fun offense. Will they be able to stack up against Texas A&M? I don't know. I think this is a popular public play again, not a gambling segment. I'm going to do it. We're going to do 13 Yale. This is my first upset of the day. 13 Yale.
Yeah, get ready to learn Wade Taylor, buddy. He averaged about 20 in the SEC. Texas A&M's going to roll to the Elite Eight.
Casey, you're the tiebreaker on this one. Ivy League, or are you going SEC?
Do we really think Ivy kids can beat any of
Yes.
these?
Casey, that's a really, really bad thing to say because they sure as hell beat Auburn in the first round last year.
Yale beat them. Harvard beat his.
You know what happened in that Yale-Auburn game last year?
What?
Chad Baker-Mazara punched someone in the face, got thrown out 8 minutes in.
Nah, that Ivy kids aren't going to win.
There we go.
All right.
Against the SEC.
This is one of the more popular picks. This is my number one bet of the day. Not that this is a betting segment, as I've said.
Why
45
isn't it?
times.
It's 11:50.
Might as well be. It is. We are running low. I've got so many gambling stats we're not going to get to. 11-seeded Drake takes on 6 Missouri at 735. I'm rolling with Drake.
Drake's way too slow. Doesn't work in the tournament. I'm taking Missouri.
Give me Missouri.
All right, that's Missouri. Rapid fire these last 4 here so we can get to our final segment. Utah State, the 10 seed, taking on 7 UCLA, 925. I'm going with UCLA. I'm going to roll with Mick Cronin. Mick Cronin knows how to win.
Yeah, no question about it.
Yep, Mick Cronin. Let's go.
Utah State's coach is leaving per Lewis, sitting right in front of us. 15-seeded Omaha taking on St. John's, the 2 seed. That's at 9:45 tonight.
Beat the trash cans.
I'm going to take Omaha with the points, but I'm not going to take them to win this game. St. John's wins the game by, I would say, 15.
People liking St. John's is very, very funny to me. They played a terrible Big East. They lost a bunch of their non-conference games. Not very high on them. I think Omaha covers with relative ease, and then St. John's is out in the next round.
Slick Rick.
I believe in Patino. I mean, he's
That's
basically, followed through on his promise. So give me the St. John's.
At 10 o'clock, UC San Diego, the 12. This is probably the most bet, one of the most bet games of the day.
But everyone loves Michigan.
Michigan 5. That's at 10 p.m. tonight. I'm going to take UC San Diego probably in my brackets. And Mousecop brought up a good point. I might take Michigan betting-wise.
Yeah, I'm not because Michigan stinks and I hate everything about their school and state. So it's UC San Diego, Triton, till the day I die. Let's go.
I forgot. So many bits. He's got so many bits. Casey, UCSD, Michigan. Tritons is a badass mascot.
It's a quad one game.
It is a quad one game.
I like the mascot a lot, so I'm gonna go with UC.
It's also their first year of eligibility, and they got both their men's and women's team in.
Yeah,
I like that.
And the final game of the slate tonight, 14 seed UNCW taking on 3-seeded Texas Tech. That's at 10:10 tonight. I'm going to go with the Red Raiders. I think that's potential upset watch being the late game. I think there's a potential upset. Texas Tech being banged up a little bit. UNCW is not bad. Your pick.
Texas Tech, very, very good team. I think outside of the 1s and 2s, they have the best chance to win this national championship.
Okay.
They're going to take care of business very, very convincingly against UNC Wilmington. Texas Tech is a very good team.
Okay. Casey.
When I first saw UNC Wilmington, I thought that was just like a fancy name for the Tar Heels, and turns out it's not. So that being said, the Raiders. I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Okay, all right, there we go. All right, so we're going to end this segment right now. We got one more segment. It's our gambling segment. You guys give me your best bets. I've got some gambling stats for you. We're going to try to do it relatively quickly because we are going over today. ESPN 1410, Wing AM live from Champions Grill on the west side of Cincinnati, Work Road. That's WERK Road. And that's Champions Grill with an E at the end of grill. That's our bit that we do every single time. They got 100 TVs in here. Come down for March Madness. ESPN 1410, Wing AM. We'll be right back with you. Welcome back in ESPN 1410 Wing AM Chatterbox Sports Off the Bench. Elliot, Casey, Jacob here with you live from Champions Grill. Lewis, our guy right up here up front. We got some people coming down. I know some of you guys chatters out there watching live on YouTube coming down at some point during the day today. We're excited to see you. We got some of my friends coming down later today. Tim, I was told by my group chat that the popcorn needs to be as fresh as ever today because he said, this is no hornback, he said his body weight's going to be 85% that popcorn.
Okay.
He's going to be here for a long time.
You got to start charging.
So
you got to start charging.
Tim says, can we guarantee a fresh popcorn for the day? Tim has guaranteed it. Tim has guaranteed it. So come on down to Champions Grill today.
Chat's starting to say I'm drunk, so I might have to give him. I'm not going to make liars out of our chat.
Let's see how many we can get.
I'm not going to make liars out of our chat.
Again, we're going to do a March Madness live watch party after this, live on YouTube. But again, that's what we're doing today. It's time for gambling. I got to stop rambling. I got gambling facts I wrote down. So here we go. Some of the gambling facts for you today. I believe this is for. I'm looking for my first round stats. I have seeds. I have every stat in the world. So here we go. I'm going to start with. Where is it? All right, here we go. Teams that didn't make their conference tournament championship game on a first-round slide of just 44-64-2 against the spread versus conference championship in the first round. So just a little nugget. By the way, power conference schools that lost straight up and against the spread in their conference championship game. So if you've paid attention, power conference schools that lost straight up, like Wisconsin, and against the spread in their conference championship game are 64-18 straight up in the first round.
So
over
teams
the last
that are really good
16
win
seasons.
games in the tournament.
That's probably correct. Odds makers have done bettors a favor by signaling first-round upsets as small first-round favorites of -1 to -3, 59-62 straight up, and 48-69 against the spread since 2009. So if it's a small spread, don't love it for an
If
underdog.
there's a small spread, they're 59-62, so exactly 500 to take whatever you want.
That's right. As of late,
what a horrendous stat that was.
That's a great stat.
That was
since 2016, first-round double-digit favorites. They've been successful 94-9 straight up, obviously 57-46 against the spread. So there you go there. And finally, my last one on totals in the first round. Games posted with totals of 149 or higher have gone way under. In the last 5 years, 21-10. If there's a total over 149, you take that under.
Won't do it.
You won't do it.
I'll be probably taking the over on everything that high.
Not going to take it. Not going to take it. As for these seed bets, I'm going to read all this.
I have a heart and a brain, so I'm not taking it under.
The seeds for today. So number one seeds have defensively over the last 7 tournaments, 14-6, the under. The number one seeds, their under has happened 70% of the time, holding their opponents to 59 points per game. So there's your potential Houston bet for you right there.
I think that might be a Houston stat.
I think that might be the Houston stat. So big numbers with 2 seeds. They are 14-24 against the spread. That's 36% since 2005 when favored by 17 points or more. 2 seeds favored by 17 points or more do not cover the spread. So interesting stat there. The last 27 3 seeds to play in the first round of the tournament, 25-2 straight up, 17-10 against the spread. Again, that's the last 27 3 seeds to play in the first round games. 25-2 straight up. So don't expect a 3-seeded to get upset today is what I just read from that stat.
Yeah.
Another one.
All right.
This, again, I have a lot more information. But
these stats are, should we give picks?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm
Okay.
going to get my picks right out. Hold on. I wrote them down. Everybody calm down. I wrote them in our group chat with Lewis, actually. So hold on. Here we go. Sorry for the radio. My bets that I'm high on. We already said it. Louisville -2.5. Me and you were both on that one.
Yep.
Casey, by the way, feel free to find some bets right now, by the way, for yourself. Purdue -7.5. Already took it.
We already picked today's games. What other bets do you have for the tournament?
Oh, for the whole tournament, too?
We already picked today's games.
Oh, well, I didn't do the spread. I didn't say all the spreads. But, okay, that's probably the best way to do it. For the rest of the tournament, I do have Duke to go to the championship game. I have them playing in the championship and winning the whole thing. I put an additional future on that last night.
I like that.
I have
Duke's
Louisville,
so good,
I have
man.
Louisville to get to the Sweet 16, parlayed with North Carolina to get to the Sweet 16.
Wow.
That's correct.
Wow.
Here's my reasoning. I hate North Carolina so much. I hate them so much that I have to do it. Continuing on as terms of futures and spreads, I do have Arizona kicking the snot out of Akron. That game's not today, but that is tomorrow.
We'll destroy them. That's the other game
Akron.
I was talking about. I wanted to take Akron very, very bad, but Arizona's such a terrible matchup. There's no way that game's going to be close.
I agree with you. I do
in that bracket, actually. That's one of my favorite bets. It's the next round. Arizona versus Oregon is what I have predicted. Liberty shoots a bunch of threes, and they're just not very good at shooting threes. It's an interesting strategy.
That's right.
I am taking Oregon to get to that Sweet 16 at +250. It's one of my favorite plus signs. January, February, Altman, April.
Okay.
It's not Izzo. It's Altman.
I like that. The Troy spread was giving me fits yesterday, too.
Okay.
I know I just read the 3-4 where they cover every spread. Troy +11 against a Kentucky team that doesn't do well in March as of late. I know it's a different coach.
I like Pope, and I like this Kentucky team a lot. I think Owe is a very, very good player. I think they at least get to the second weekend. I don't know about much further than that.
Going over to the other side of the bracket, I'm going to go over to Maryland versus Grand Canyon. The what you call them, the Crab Five?
The Crab Five,
The Crab Five. I was on Grand Canyon until yesterday. You had me in there.
I love Maryland.
It.
I think Maryland's one of the very few teams in that bracket that I think can comfortably beat Florida if they're playing their best game. I think they could absolutely take care of Florida in that Sweet 16 matchup. I'm not bold enough to bet it, but I think Maryland, depending on what that number is, I'm definitely going to take them as an underdog if both teams get there.
I think the rest of that bracket's fraudulent. I think UConn, Oklahoma, that's a throwaway game. UConn, historically, by the way, has covered every spread, and I think in the last 2 years, seemingly. Memphis, Colorado State. Colorado State, the 12 seed, is favored over Memphis. That's a game that I did bet Colorado State on.
Did you see what happened?
What?
They just flipped Memphis and Louisville.
Really?
The committee, yeah. Memphis' metrics, it makes no sense. They're a 5 seed. So if you flip them in Louisville, it makes complete sense on the bracket.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
I mean, it's definitely not what happened, but that's the rumor going around.
And by the way, that's what I'm talking about when Louisville got. Let's say hypothetically Louisville was that seed, they'd run away. I mean, I think they'd beat Maryland or Grand Canyon.
They would not beat Maryland.
I think they'd beat Maryland, and then I think they'd have another shot at beating Florida. So who knows? But those are my big bets. I obviously switched everything to Houston yesterday too.
Love Houston.
Jacob started giving me a bunch of Houston propaganda. So I pretty much have Houston sailing to the Final Four. I have one more Final Four bet that I'm forgetting right now. Final Four bet I have. I have a sleeper on Arizona. I have a sleeper on Arizona because I think Arizona's fun to watch. Arizona destroyed me in a game this season. I forget who it was, but it was that half-court buzzer-beater game. That destroyed me, so that's a spite bet on Arizona.
You got to ride the Arizona wave very carefully.
Okay.
Because you're going to bet on them, and you're going to love them because Caleb Love's going to go, 5 for 7 from 3. He's going to drop 30. That's going to be great. In the second round, he will go 0 for 12.
Yeah.
So you have to get off the Arizona wagon before Caleb Love shoots them out of a game.
Yes.
Because that will happen.
All right. That's fair.
The one thing I can't get over the hump of, though, is I just keep looking back 2 years ago. Close your eyes. Caleb Love hits another dagger three to knock Duke out of the tournament. Oh, it would be so beautiful. If they can get over Dana Altman and Oregon in the round of 32, Duke versus Arizona, Caleb Love versus Duke again, that would be very, very good. He ended Coach K, put the nails in that coffin. Maybe he can start the end of John Shire before he even gets going.
I do have a couple more parlays. You have any bets you like?
I think one thing that's really fun to look at in round 2, which I don't know that a lot of people are talking about enough, is that Duke-Baylor potential matchup, because you know who Baylor's point guard is.
Who?
Jeremy Roach.
That's right.
So I think that's a very, very fun thing people are looking at there. Nothing else too crazy today. I do love Oklahoma over UConn when we get there tomorrow.
We're going to hammer Louisville. That's Jacob.
That's right.
We're all over Louisville. What's our player prop that we got too?
I have Chucky Hepburn points.
So that's
love
what we got.
Chucky.
Casey, any bets for you that you like today? Any games that stand out?
I had a few. Just looking at some of our system plays here.
Your system, not mine.
My system. Kansas looks like a favorable matchup here. 30%
Love that.
of the bets,
Love
30%
that.
of the money on Kansas. I'm sure the boss will love to hear that.
It's hard for Kansas to get to the Sweet 16 if they don't win.
Yeah,
it's true.
And a couple,
it's very true.
A couple SEC teams, Texas A&M and Missouri, they're both in that favorable matchup in terms of just the numbers here, where the public is trending towards. So I like those three. That Missouri bet is -4.5, Texas A&M 7.5, and Kansas -5. I like all those right now.
I like that. A couple parlays I had. I was just trying to buy enough time to get there. I have a 3-leg money line parlay: Texas A&M, BYU, Purdue.
Okay.
All to win. That's 20 to win 57 on that one. I do have a Louisville. This is just today. Louisville money line: Drake 6.5, Wisconsin -17. That is 20 to win 120 there as well. There's so many good boosts right now on pretty much any sports book. So go find one and take advantage of all it. I have a ton more, and we'll talk about more on the gambling stream, which is going to happen relatively soon. And in fact, I think that's what we're going to do right now, Casey. That's 5 more minutes here. Never mind. So other bets that I like today, actually tomorrow, going for that. I do like, did I say Oregon over Liberty? I was a Liberty guy. I'm now on Oregon there. Going over to St. Mary's versus Vanderbilt. I've had a hard time believing in either of these teams. From what I've seen from Vanderbilt, I don't think they're very good. That's my opinion on most SEC teams in general.
Right.
I will take St. Mary's, though, in that game. Alabama, Bobby Morris. I'm taking Bobby Morris.
Yeah, that's cute.
With the spread.
Yeah, and you're going to text me and be like, oh, Alabama only beat Robert Morris by 25. Take that. I'm going to be like, we're in the round of 32, and you're still waiting on the crown.
So my thing with you is I'm going to text you after every SEC team loses. At what point for you does that get annoying? Because it's gonna.
Can you text me if SEC team loses in like the Elite Eight and be like, gotcha?
Yeah,
I would win.
Absolutely.
I would win in that scenario.
No, if Auburn loses in the Elite Eight, yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna try to get me upset about Auburn losing.
Well, okay, then I'll switch teams. Then we'll do Texas. I hope Texas A&M loses in the first round.
Texas A&M losing in the first round would be tough. I like Texas A&M a lot. I love
for you.
How do you look at Buzz Williams on the sideline? Sweaty as all get out. Oh, my God. It looks like he just swam in a pool.
Who sweats more, him or Pearl?
Well, Bruce Pearl sweats through button-downs. It's the most impressive thing in the world. When you have a player, again, I mean, you walked me right into this. When you have a player like Chad Baker-Mazara, who's always a liability to beat somebody up on the basketball court, I'd be sweating too. I mean, that's a hard thing to manage. You got a bunch of 26-year-olds out there on the court. One of them's trying to fight 18-year-olds. I'd sweat too.
I was just looking at some of my other bets too. I have I mentioned
that is a lot of legs in a parlay right there.
I have so many parlays.
Hold on, this one's fun. How about $20 on the North Carolina Tar Heels to win the national championship?
Listen,
Elliot watched him play one First Four game and he was like, R.J. Davis still got it.
And keep in mind, an 11 seed's never even been close to winning.
Elliot Cotto's in that one Marriott commercial. He's going to be a monster.
I saw North Carolina. I put $50 on San Diego State, Lewis. $50, and they lost by 50.
That's good.
They lost by the wager that I had on them. I'm taking North Carolina. I'm taking North Carolina all the way to the big show.
He just wants North Carolina to do so well they don't try to come steal Wes.
You're going to get sick when that wins. By the way, you need to go to that specific sports book because that's the same thing we did with how we got our other
touchdown.
Bonus.
Okay.
So it's the same. If your pick wins, you're going to get a bonus bet. Everybody, by the way, again, take advantage of all this. Yes.
Okay.
So I would bet chalk and roll with it. Anything else, Casey? By the way, as we wrap up this show, anything from you?
No, other than those picks that I got there, I don't have very much else that I'm betting on.
We'll get you more.
We'll get you locked and
We'll
loaded.
get you more. We got to go. So ESPN 1410 Wing AM live from Champions Grill. Thank you to our guy Lewis and our guy Noah over here who just appeared. Everybody else in the bar today. We are going to stay here. Turn off the speakers so the game audio plays over the TVs here. We're going to be then live streaming the first several games from Champions Grill. Again, they've got 4,000 TVs here. It's going to be a very, very fun day. Get here. They've got great foods. They've got cold beer. It couldn't be a better atmosphere here at Champions Grill, Work Road, west side of Cincinnati. ESPN 1410, Wing AM.
If you're on
Chatterbox
Creighton,
Sports.
wait till the second game.
Correct.
Come join us for the second game if you're on Creighton.
Correct. Chatterbox Sports off the bench, presented by Champions Grill, live from Champions Grill, ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We'll be back in studio tomorrow. We'll see you guys then.
Thank you, everybody.
Love you.